path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers.
You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
What do they call it?
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
You got a corpse in a car, minus the head in the garage. Take me to it.
Mother...
I love you, Pumpkin.
I love you, honey bunny.
Everybody be cool, this is a robbery!
What's Fonzie like?
Cool.
Correctamundo. And that's what we're gonna be. We're gonna be cool.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Recast here on the Movie Hero Network. I am your host this evening, the man who championed bringing this show back in spite of Jordan Anderson's misgivings. I wanted to bring it back and hang on to it, and that's what we're doing tonight. This is the fifth episode number 5 of Recast, and tonight, yes, if you hadn't guessed it already, we are doing Quentin Tarantino's 1994 film, Pulp Fiction. Yes, we know it's a perfect movie. It's perfectly cast. We're just having a little fun here, seeing if we can maybe attempt to recast this thing if we were to do so. But I've got some fun. We got a fun show planned for you. And I got a great panel here. Got kind of our usual host here on the Movie Hero Network, but a Pulp Fiction fan, Jordan Anderson. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. And to be fair, I actually love the show. I just didn't have time to do it. So I'm glad to have the help so we can keep it going, you know.
I took care of business for you. It's all good. I got it.
And Pulp Fiction is my favorite Tarantino movie, so I'm excited for this. It'll be awesome.
Yes, definitely.
When I first watched it, I thought it was like watching a masterpiece. Just some movies, even from the first watch, you're watching something special. So
yeah, for sure. And we got a guy who I can only guess how many Aussies he casted if he did an Aussie production of Pulp Fiction. It's Richie Goodacre. How's it going, Richie?
Yeah, going well. I actually came to Pulp Fiction quite late. When theaters first started opening back up during the pandemic, I opened up pretty early here in 2020. They were just showing retro stuff, and I saw Pulp Fiction in a theater, and it was great. It was probably the way to watch Pulp Fiction in recliner chairs. It was awesome, and yeah, it blew me away. So yeah, I've watched it heaps of times since, about 4 times since, and yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure. And big Tarantino fan, so I'm sure he wanted to jump all over this and have a little fun with it. We got another wolf. We're going to talk about another wolf on this show, oddly enough, but we got the Wolfman himself, Michael Wyndham. What's going on, sir?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I actually was late to Tarantino because I remember getting my wisdom teeth pulled out and sitting there one time watching Kill Bill. Was actually the first Tarantino movie I ever watched, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, and I was like, I've heard of this Tarantino guy, but I've never seen a movie of his. And I watched that. And then ever since then, it was that. Then it was Django. And I just kept on watching on and on and on. And every single one I just absolutely fell in love with. And he became my favorite director, my favorite filmmaker. And this is my favorite film of his. This is like my 4th favorite film of all time. I love it when I own the screenplay, literally. So it's like, yeah, it's great. I think this film is an absolute masterpiece. And there's a theater, the Alamo Draft House, that I go to on occasions. It's like an hour and a half away from me. And they're the dine-in theaters where they feed you and everything. And they actually have playing there soon Pulp Fiction. But what's funny about that is one of their orders that they have is a Royale with cheese. So you could literally be eating a Royale with cheese like that.
Oh, nice.
So basically, you
grew up with Tarantino, as a kid.
My first Tarantino film. This is gonna make y'all freak out. My first Tarantino film with Kill Bill was in 2014. So
Shut up.
I don't know what mine is, but it's way
All right.
before that.
So, all right. Well, let's run down how it's kind of going to work here tonight. So, we are going to be recasting 8 of the kind of pivotal roles of Pulp Fiction. We'll start kind of at the bottom, sort of the lesser characters to kind of the most important characters, and we'll work our way up through the cast. Everybody here on the panel has picked somebody to recast in that said role. We'll kind of give an introduction to the role. I'll play a very quick clip just to kind of refresh everybody's memory. We'll put the picture of the character on screen, and then we'll commence with the picks. And how it's going to work is everybody will be voting on each other's picks. So we'll go around the horn. Everybody will introduce their picks. Give us just like a minute and a half, just a quick pitch kind of to everybody else why you think they would be good in the role. We'll go on once we have all the picks. Everybody else will vote on each other's because we can't vote for our own. That would be redundant and kind of silly. So what we're going to be doing, you're basically pitching it to everybody else on the panel. And then what we'll do is everybody will kind of rank each of the picks. You'll rank them 1 through 3. First place a pick will get 3 points. Second place will get 2. Third will get 1. I'll kind of keep track of that off to the side here, and we'll see whose picks kind of gets the most points. And we'll kind of come up with a new roster for Pulp Fiction. That's just kind of how it's going to work. So it's easy peasy. We'll have a little fun. But yeah, we're going to start kind of at the bottom of the list. And, you know, some characters that, again, are integral to kind of the outer portions of the movie. Honey Bunny and Pumpkin, played by Tim Roth and Amanda Plummer. So we're going to start with Tim Roth as Pumpkin. We're going to start with him first. And let me give you guys just a quick little refresher. This one has both of them because they're in both, you know, there's no really singular scenes of them. They're all in the scenes together talking to each other. This will serve as an introduction for both the characters. It's a quick little refresher for Honey Bunny and Pumpkin.
You got the idea, taking their wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was a good idea.
Thank you.
Made more from the wallets than we did from the register.
Yes, we did.
A lot of people come to restaurants.
A lot of wallets.
Pretty smart, huh?
Pretty smart. I'm ready. Let's do it right now, right here. Come on.
Right. Same as last time, remember? Your crowd control. I handle employees.
I love you, Pumpkin.
I love you, Honey Bunny.
All right. We love you too, Honey Bunny and Pumpkin. But yes, we're going to start with Pumpkin. So once again, the Tim Roth side of the booth there, if you will, originally played by him. This is Pumpkin. We never really get his full actual name. A lot of fake names throughout the movie, but that's all we know him as is Pumpkin. So we'll kind of go around the horn and we'll just kind of go in order just to start with. So Jordan, we'll start with you. Make your pitch for who you would replace and recast Tim Roth with.
Okay, so the one that I picked, and it's because I've seen a couple more recent performances of his that I really thought could really work, could really fit. I went with Joe Keery for my pick. So you know him from Stranger Things, but also you know him from Fargo. And if you see his performance in Fargo and like just some of the more recent things that he's been doing, he's been kind of more off the cusp, kind of just wild and crazy, more bombastic, that kind of thing. And he does a wide range of things where I think he can kind of play both roles, where he can be the real, like everybody hands in the air, this is the stick up, all that stuff, and be like that and be crazy. But then I think he can also have the romantic side because he's got his pumpkin his honey bunny, and it just have that side to him too. And I think that Tim Roth, he's now in his 60s, so that would put him in about 30 something when the movie came out. So I mean, that's about Joe Keery. He's in his 30s, and I think it'd be a perfect fit. So yeah, I've got Joe Keery.
All right, so Jordan has Joe Keery from Stranger Things and Fargo, and we'll go around the horn. Richie, who did you pick for Pumpkin?
So yeah, this was a bit tough, but I went with a guy that I, thought could match his, the charisma. I'm not sure if he did the accent, but hey, he's, I feel like he's capable of doing a lot of things. He's impressed me. Now for one of the hottest stars at the moment, I went with Glenn Powell. I think Glenn Powell. I could just see him in that role. He just came off a Hitman, where he showed his sort of charisma there, showed his as well as his comedic chops. I could see him being I can see him, having the charisma necessary to pull off that role, and also the comedic elements, and also I just think he'd be believable in that role, and I could just also just see him in that get up, and sort of like what Jordan said, like Glenn Powell's, I think he's about 35, so he's about around the same age. Tim Roth was when this was when Pulp Fiction's around. So yeah, I just think he'd fit the character real well, and so that's why I picked Glenn Powell.
All right, so Richie picks Glenn Powell, one of the hottest guys kind of going at the moment. Wolf, what's your pick for Pumpkin?
So yeah, my pick for Pumpkin is someone I based this pick off of seeing his performance in Breaking Bad, but also just seeing how he is just in some of his other roles. I went with Aaron Paul. And the reason I picked Aaron Paul is I just feel like he kind of has that he's a bum, but also like a bum that means well, like kind of vibe to him. And that's why I kind of picked him, is he feels exactly like the embodiment of a character like Pumpkin. And through the whole journey, he kind of himself finds closure and redemption, and that's like feels like the theme of Aaron Paul in like Breaking Bad and other things like that. So and I just feel like he's also has the energy and the charisma for it. I feel like he's an actor that can really be crazy and yell when he needs to, as we've seen him do before, but also he can dial it down for like the moments with Jules and have really a serious, like, Jesse in Breaking Bad kind of moment with him, or have something along those lines, or like some of his other works that he's done. So yeah, he's a great actor, and I am picking Aaron Paul because I just feel like he fits the mold of what this character is supposed to be the best. So,
all right. So Wolf picks Aaron Paul, most famously from Breaking Bad. I'll kind of reveal my theme for anybody who doesn't know, anybody who's watching. And again, anybody who's watching, feel free to do your own rankings of everybody's picks here, what you would go with in the comments, and I'll try to showcase those if you like. So I went with the 70s theme. I wanted to make Tarantino proud. So I went with all actors kind of in their prime in the 70s. I just, Tarantino's a big 70s, cinema fan. He uses a lot of 70s actors in his movies. You'll get Pam Grier, Robert Forster, a guy who I'm about to showcase right now. He would use later. So I think the character Pumpkin needs to be somebody kind of not really conventionally good looking, kind of a character actor-y sort of person, somebody who can kind of be that chameleon, but who can stand out when they need to be. So I went with Bruce Dern from the 70s, who Tarantino would later use in The Hateful Eight, in Django, and in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But if you go with 70s Bruce Dern, this is like him in his kind of mid-30s. He carried his own movies with stuff like Silent Running, but he could also be that background character in stuff like The Driver and Black Sunday. And he can really just he can be angry when he needs to be angry. He can be super calm, cool, and collected like he is for most of Silent Running when he needs to be. And he can have that chemistry. He was just as good an actor. He worked with every major actor, worked with this guy. Like, he was on every TV show, damn near every movie. He can have chemistry with just about anybody. So I know, some of my picks may be a little hard to sell if you're not as familiar with their work, especially back in the 70s. So I'll do my best to try to sell it. But I went with somebody I think Tarantino would be proud to use back in the 70s, and that's Bruce Dern. So there you go. All right, so that is it. So everybody start your rankings. You can either use your whiteboard or just go straight up verbal, whatever you like. And we will go around and kind of get everybody's rankings. So
it's a good call. I'll grab my whiteboard for the next one, but
okay. If you want to do your whiteboard and do them as you do it, you can certainly do that. I'm just going to go verbal because I have to keep track of the points as I go. But if you guys want to use whiteboards, you can do it. So once again, let me break them down one more time. We've got Joe Keery as one pick. We got Glenn Powell. We've got Aaron Paul. And we've got Bruce Dern for the role of Pumpkin, played by Tim Roth. So that is our first recasting. And whenever you're ready, Jordan, if you're ready, if you want to give me some.
Yeah, I'm ready. So, I'll just kind of start with my my three, and I'll work backwards. But yeah, for number three, I just have Bruce Dern, just because I'm not as familiar with him when he's younger. I'm just more familiar with him when he's older. But like, I don't really know too much about him when he was young like that, so I wouldn't really have a good gauge for it. So that's just why. But and then for number two, I have Glenn Powell. I still think that like he's just about proven himself to me, but I still feel like he could get there a little more. And I don't know, just like it's close. It's a good pick, but I don't know. Could be slightly too good looking. I don't know. They could probably fugly him up a little bit for that role. I don't know, but so yeah, my number one, Aaron Paul. I think that's a great pick, and I wish I would have thought about that, because you could almost have Aaron Paul, and then you could have Kristen Ritter from Breaking Bad as the Pumpkin and Honey Bunny almost. So I'm like, when I think about that, they're kind of a dynamic together in the show. Also, you know me, I'm a big Aaron Paul guy. I can see him playing like probably more roles than most people. So I'll put him at my number one.
Okay, Richie. There you go.
Yeah, number three, I went Joe Keery. I'm just not as familiar with him. It's nothing, maybe if it's just a me thing. If I was more familiar with him, I could probably, easier see him playing that role. Number two, probably in that same vein, I'll go Bruce Dern. I definitely, I do like what you're going for. I like the vibe. But yeah, I'm sort of more, I guess, familiar with the older Bruce Dern. But yeah, I think, but I can picture it, and I can see the vibe we're going for. But I also like the Aaron Paul pick. I can definitely, I think he'd fit in that role well. I think he sold it really well. So yeah, and I think he fits the character. So I'll go Aaron Paul.
Okay, Wolf.
Yeah. So for me, number three is Glenn Powell. I think he's just kind of looking a little bit too much of a schmoozer, a little bit like he has too much of that face you just kind of want to punch. No offense to Glenn Powell, but he just does. And then number two. This is where it's a little more difficult for me. At number two, I'm gonna go with probably Bruce Dern. I love that pick. I think that's a really inspired choice, especially from his younger days. I just need to see more of his work from his younger days, but I know that like he works with Tarantino a lot, and Tarantino loves him. So he is a great actor, and I think that is a really great pick. But I actually did admire that Joe Keery pick. I think that was something that was really interesting. I feel like he has the charisma that he needs to be a pumpkin. So I feel like that was a inspired choice. So I'll go with that.
Yeah, my third. I'm sorry, Richie. I got to go Glenn Powell because he's just too good looking. He's too much like leading man. Like, yeah, I think with the pumpkin, you're going for somebody that's a little rougher looking, more character actory, like than somebody who's like leading man material. In that part, I think that's a little too much. Yeah, like I think he's too distracting as like that guy. You're like, why isn't that guy like just like the lead of this movie? To me, Tim Roth can like slide in there, and he hits his marks and gets out. I'll go Joe Keery after that. I do like his look for it, and his hair and whatnot. I haven't seen a ton of him outside of Stranger Things, but I definitely will seek out some of his Fargo stuff. Yeah, I like the Aaron Paul pick too. I think he hits that vibe. I could see him kind of playing both the kind of big yelling nature, because he did that on a Breaking Bad, but also having the little sit down with Jules, and like having the little heart to heart kind of a thing. I can see that too. So but yeah, it's there's not much of a need for a tie here. It will be Aaron Paul. We'll take that one for the role of Pumpkin. So Aaron Paul runs away with
I like that pick. Yeah.
So it's a good pick. Yeah. So there you go. Well, we'll see what happens. Well, let's look at the other side of things. We saw the thing. So let's look at Honey Bunny, played, of course, by Amanda Plummer. Looking at the other side of the booth there, if you will. And let's see what everybody has for this. So for this one, we'll start with Richie, and we'll go on.
Cool. So for Honey Bunny, I went another person that is sort of coming up the ranks, but also I think sort of would fit the vibe and the look of her. I went with Margaret Qualley. Margaret Qualley.
Okay.
Mm.
That's a celebrity crush right there.
Yeah.
I just think it sort of. I mean, maybe I was thinking more like Driveway Dolls. I think she could sort of, when I was watching that, I think she could like sort of fit that vibe of someone who could, that get into that weirdness and that sort of that charisma. She's like, sort of not like not like I don't know. Well, it's not like the most like again probably not like Tim Tim Roth, not the most like conventionally sort of good looking person, but like. Like would sort of fit that vibe, and I think could get could tap into that sort of that dark sort of charisma of Honey Bunny. So I think Margaret Qualley would do well here.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen her in a bunch of stuff lately. Like she keeps popping up in movies. Yeah, even just this year, Driveway Dolls. She's in Kinds of Kindness. For all the segments. I feel like she's just kind of she's and obviously she's been in a Tarantino movie. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So there we go. But yeah, Richie going with Margaret Qualley. All right, so there we go. Let me check the comments real quick. We just casted Pumpkin. We had picks of Joe Keery, Glenn Powell, Brewster, and Aaron Paul. Aaron Paul won out that one. That was a Wolfman's pick. So we haven't missed much, Malcolm. We're starting at the bottom, working our way up with Honey Bunny Pumpkin. Richie just went with Margaret Qualley for Honey Bunny. So Wolf, what you got for Honey Bunny?
So I actually was thinking Kristen Ritter. That was a part of me initially. Yeah. I had that in my head, but then you're going to hear him later whenever we talk about another actor. I had another Breaking Bad actor in there. I was like, I don't want too many Breaking Bad actors in there, but I still won. I think Jordan's heart by picking Aubrey Plaza. That is my pick for Honey Bunny, and I won because she's not only my Honey Bunny, but two is she is also she can show that side of herself that we've seen in Parks and Rec, and some of the other kinds of movies where she can be very like loud or crazy or maniacal, but then like a little bit in her eyes. But then she also, from something like Emily the Criminal, she can be that like really strong and determined kind of role that Honey Bunny needs to be. So I think that she would fit well into the role. Also, she kind of has that rugged, like rough look to her, like she doesn't look super pretty, like even though she is kind of she's got like this obscure beauty to her because she's not really like all that pretty, but she is also like kind of pretty at the same time. But it's one of those kind of things, a lot like Aaron Paul, where she looks a little bit more rough.
She's pretty,
and it's something like that I think would fit for the role. And on top of that, she's just a great actress overall, and we have seen her play these roles, like I mentioned, Emily the Criminal, which is fantastic. If you have not seen it, definitely recommend it. But yeah, that's why I'm picking Aubrey Plaza.
All right. So Wolf going with Aubrey Plaza. I kind of tried to do one where she had almost kind of crazy eyes or something, give that weird stare or something like that. So I tried to be kind with the pictures and do that. So so I also went with somebody that's kind of unconventionally got like a weird sexiness to her, like not like sort of that A-list sexiness, but I think, also as kind of a character actress who would kind of break out a little more later, and you guys will know who it is, but she's been working since the late 60s, and she actually was Jack Nicholson's girl at one point or another. So I went with 70s Angelica Houston, which I think if you look at the 1970s, she's got that kind of very strange, like almost pale, short hair look. Like you can see like some bit of a sexiness, like what somebody would find, sexy in her. She could play that maniacal kind of crazy as we've seen in like Addams Family, but that subtle kind where she could turn it on in just a second if she had to. And she's also just a really, really good actress. And I think she would have that kind of mysteriousness to her as to like what her motives are. And she could have those freakouts. And I think it would be really interesting. So I kind of, again, went with somebody a little unconventional, more of a character actress. But you know, if you think about stuff like Addams Family and whatnot, she can be quiet when she needs to be and louder when she needs to be. But yeah, so I went with kind of a 1970s Angelica. I found this from a magazine back then, so a picture of her from the 70s. So yeah, nice. Strange, but there you go. All right, Jordan, what you got?
So this one was probably the most difficult for me to cast, the Honey Bunny. I just like really wasn't sure because this one kind of doesn't fit really the vein of like all my other picks. But to be fair, my picks are kind of all over the place. I don't really go from any kind of era or theme or anything. So I went with kind of like an 80s, 90s, Patricia Arquette is what I went for. So I think that she really has like the look for it. And I mean, she does have a pretty face when she gets dolled up, but when she's not dolled up, which you see, Honey Bunny, she's not really all that dolled up, and like she doesn't really like have that like just super like gorgeous looking face, you know, and she has the craziness like you see from like a True Romance, or even like stuff like Bringing Out the Dead, or things like that, like where she just gets really crazy and
which is another Tarantino, by the way. Sorry,
yeah, right.
Romance.
Exactly. Yeah, and for a True Romance too, she really gets the redneck kind of vibe, just kind of like down on her luck, kind of down in the dumps kind of thing. But she has a little bit of optimism to her that everything's going to be all right, kind of like Honey Bunny does. And so I think that fits the vibe of the character pretty well, I think. So yeah,
right,
Patricia Arquette.
Jordan going with kind of a younger Patricia Arquette there from True Romance, Bring Out the Dead and whatnot. If you even want to go the horror route, she was in Dream Warriors. She was the lead in Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors. All right, so that is our picks. So kind of maybe start making your rankings, what you would put it at. We have Richie's pick of Margaret Qualley. We have Wolfman's pick of Aubrey Plaza. We have my pick of a young Angelica Houston. And then we have Jordan's pick of Patricia Arquette. So that is your options right there. Once again, our panel votes for picks other than their own, because that would be redundant to just vote for yourself. So that's why we do the point system and vote for ones other than that. So you're selling it to everybody else. But yeah, so we'll kind of start in the same order. Richie, do you have your rankings ready to go, or do you need a minute?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So number 3, I mean, I like the idea of being, it's kind of interesting, and she's not conventionally good looking, but yeah, I'm going for Patricia Arquette just because it's weird. Like, I don't know, you've already got like you got Rosanna. I mean, like because we're not recasting Rosanna, so I'm just gonna assume I'm just gonna play it like we already have like Rosanna maybe in that, and so it might it'd be. It's just not maybe out of the beaten path that like she would. It'd feel a bit distracting, like, oh yeah, these two look alike. But I don't know. It's like I think it's decent casting, but I just thought the other two were kind of a bit. Yeah, they sold it to me a bit more. So yeah, my number 2. It was difficult. But I'll go with Aubrey Plaza here. I think she definitely has like the range for it. And yeah, like I don't disagree with anything you said, but I actually do think I think Pez sold me on the Angelica Houston pick. And number 1, I just think she's just got that sort of more mystique, that almost mysterious, like, you know, that hotness, and like I think she could definitely sort of pull off that sort of eerie vibe, you know, maybe a bit more than the other two. So I'm gonna go with Pez, but this was a bit hard. This is harder.
Oh, trust me, this is all going to be difficult looking at the picks. And I'm the only one who knows all of them in advance. And trust me, these are going to get very, very difficult to rank. Trust me, because you're going to feel bad with some of these giving them like just 1 point, even though they're like good picks. Trust me, you're going to be like, oh, geez, ranking these is going to be weird. But yeah, Wolf, go ahead.
So my oh man, so I'm going to go in this order. I'm pretty set on it, but I'm going to go number 3 is Patricia Arquette. I I like the pick. I think she is really good and stuff like True Romance. I think she's got. I feel like she is a little too like, I don't know what's the word, like bubbly. Like she doesn't come across as like a crazy kind of performance as much to me as I would think of Honey Bunny with. My number 2 I'm going with, and just because Richie stole my heart by picking her, she is like my celebrity crush, but also I do feel like stuff in Drive Away Dolls or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or a few of those other movies, I feel like Margaret Qualley would fit the role. She has the yelling, bombastic style to her that would fit. But I feel like when it comes to not only who would fit the role as far as like that energy, but also just the look down precisely 100% to a T, is a young Angelica Houston. I think that was a really inspired choice. Like as soon as Austin said that, I was like, "Ooh, okay." I didn't think about that. Like, yeah, a young Angelica Houston. I think that's one that would be
behind the scenes. That was a last minute switch and the one I was least confident in, actually.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I originally had Lily Tomlin and I switched it today. So yeah.
Wow.
So
I probably would have been sold on Lily Tomlin as well. If you
Lily Tomlin's a good pick too. I wanted somebody
Yeah.
a little more sinister looking. I don't know.
Lily Tomlin I'm more familiar with, but
yeah. So all right. As far as me, look, I love Patricia Arquette in True Romance and stuff. Like I adore her, but all I can see is Alabama Worley. like when I'm watching her. So like I can't see the Honey Bunny thing. Like I like her a lot, Jordan. I really do, and I love her in True Romance and Bring Out the Dead. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. My number 2, I'll go with Aubrey Plaza. I do think she has the range. I could kind of see it. My only thing was I would be afraid it would come off sarcastic, because that's like her specialty. but I still think like she could pull off the crazy. I like Margaret Qualley a lot. She's quickly becoming one of my kind of not only a crush, but like one of my favorite kind of working character actresses like working today. I've liked her in everything I've seen her in, and I think she's just becoming a star. And I think she absolutely has the range in everything I've seen her in, from Kinds of Kindness or Drive Away Dolls and whatnot. And I just think she's got charisma for days. So I'll go with that for my top one.
Yeah. So we're gonna use the whiteboard, but I realize that's gonna like take from someone to reveal them one by one, kind of thing. I want to keep rewriting and erasing and all that. But yeah, I think my number 3 is probably gonna be Angelica Houston, just because again, I'm just not as familiar with the younger version, just the older one. And then probably my number 2, which is tough for me because I'm a huge fan, and she's one of my celebrity crushes, is Aubrey Plaza. I just think that because she is as one of my celebrity crushes, I'm just kind of like, I don't really see the kind of look like that needs to be there. Kind of like a really almost an ugly look. Like that's kind of like almost what you need. So, and
you think Margaret Qualley's ugly?
No, but I have seen her in some things where like I can kind of like see that more.
She's more androgynous. Yeah. She can love that androgynous look more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually like a good way to put it. Like she kind of has the look.
Well, she's like, pulled off like straight, gay, non-binary kind of a thing. Yeah. She can do all of that. Like, I think she's got that kind of look to her. Yeah.
And also, she got the craziness from Drive Away Dolls, but also Poor Thing. She even played another Frankenstein, like near the end, and she had the look there for that. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't seen Kinds of Kindness yet. I want to still see that, but yeah, I'll go with Margaret Qualley for my number 1.
Surprisingly, I almost pulled it out with Angelica Houston at the last minute. It was very close. I know I'm going to have a tough time selling 70s actors to Jordan. That's going to be my crux on this one. Is trying to sell him 70s actors because he just doesn't watch old movies. But
many people are not talking in those movies.
Yeah. But with 8 points, it will be Richie's pick of Margaret Qualley. So there we go.
Very good.
And I actually think Margaret Qualley and Aaron Paul can make a hell of a couple in that scene. I think
I'd actually That hit in my head. Yeah, I think that would actually.
So if we could see a little Margaret Qualley, little Aaron Paul sitting across from both of each other doing their thing. Yeah, I think that could work pretty well. All right, so let's move on up the ladder with the next things, and we are gonna go to we're gonna go to Wolf's namesake. We're gonna go to the Wolf. We're gonna go with the original role played by Harvey Keitel, and here's a little refresher on his performance.
Jimmy, lead the way. Boys, get to work.
Please would be nice.
Come again?
I said a please would be nice.
Get it straight, Buster. I'm not here to say please. I'm here to tell you what to do. And if self-preservation is an instinct you possess, you better fucking do it and do it quick. I'm here to help. If my help's not appreciated, lots of luck, gentlemen.
No, Mr. Wolf. It ain't like that. Your help is definitely appreciated.
Mr. Wolf, listen. I don't mean disrespect, okay? I respect you. I just don't like people barking orders at me, that's all.
If I'm curt with you, it's because time is a factor. I think fast, I talk fast, and I need you guys to act fast if you want to get out of this. So, pretty please, with sugar on top, clean the fucking car.
Pretty please, with sugar on top, huh? Recast Harvey Keitel.
Nice.
Great stuff there. Kind of one extended scene, but a very, very memorable one and a very memorable character, obviously, with Harvey Keitel as the Wolf right there. And maybe it's appropriate enough that we are on to the one with the namesake. We're on to the Wolf. We're on to Wolfman himself, our very own Wolf here on the Video Network, Wolfman. We're gonna start. We're gonna take a look at Harvey Keitel's The Wolf, and what you got for your pick.
So I am the namesake here, but I don't know if I'm gonna win this one yet because this was the one I jumped back and forth on. That was the reason you had a bunch of unsent emails in your inbox because I changed it last minute. Then I unsent those messages. It's like, actually, I'll keep the one I initially had. It was one of those ones that was like back and forth for me between some people. So this was really, really hard because Harvey Keitel just plays our role brilliantly. But I'm gonna go with the other Breaking Bad actor, Bryan Cranston. And look at him in a suit right there. Tell me that is not the Wolf.
I tried to pick everybody, people in like sort of award show tuxedo suit kind of a thing, just to match, what Harvey Keitel shows up in a tuxedo. So
he not only literally like looks like Harvey Keitel a little bit in that part, and but he has that roughness and gruffness to him. But also, I watched the Wolf's clip before picking it again, and I was like, he has to be somebody who's going to be stern, like completely like, hey, I told you, go clean out the fucking car, that kind of thing. And have that like personality to him. And Bryan Cranston, we've seen that in Breaking Bad, where it's like stuff like, who do you think you're talking to right now? And that whole thing where he went on that whole phrase stuff. Like he has that like thing where you're like kind of scared of him, and that's supposed to be the Wolf, where you're like, oh, okay, you're like, I'm kind of actually like a little threatened by you. And that's like how the Wolf is, but also to have a personality to him too that feels like kind of charismatic. And I feel Bryan Cranston captures that extremely well in all of his performances. He can be charismatic, as we've seen him in some of his comedies and stuff like that, but as we've seen like Breaking Bad and other dramas he's done before, he can be very like threatening and very like rugged when he needs to be, and I just feel like that really fits the embodiment of the Wolf. So I'm going with Bryan Cranston.
All right, so Wolf goes with Bryan Cranston as his pick for the Wolf. All right, my pick. I would hope this would be one of my shoe-ins once you guys see this. You need somebody that has that gravitas, that presence, somebody that when you open that door and you see who it is, especially think this is my 70s pick. So think you're in this theater in the 70s. You see this guy walk through the door. He is a star. He is one of the most recognizable guys of that era. He's a tough guy that can also be soft-spoken, as we see in stuff like Death Wish or The Magnificent Seven. Charles Bronson.
I knew you were
Charles
going.
Bronson. I mean, look at this uncanny likeness. I mean, look at this, and he even models the look after him. And look at Charles Bronson. I mean, come on, it's like spot on. He shows up in that tuxedo with that mustache, with the sleeves slicked back his hair a little bit. I mean, Charles Bronson is like the super icon of the 70s. Again, he can be soft-spoken in the early scenes of stuff like Death Wish or Magnificent Seven, but when he needs to turn on that like hard edge, when he needs to tell people what the fuck is going on, and then tell them and order them around, you buy it from him because he is that icon and that tough guy, and can bark out orders, and you feel it. You feel every word he says. You hang on every word he says. You need to have that guy that when you see him, you just go, oh man, oh my God, Charles Bronson's in this movie. I didn't even know he was in this movie. And he shows up, he kills it, and he leaves. So yeah, I gotta go. This was when we were first doing this. I was doing the 70s. I was like, oh come on, it's Charles Bronson, like playing the Wolf. Like that's just a given. So yeah, that's my pick is old Chuck Bronson for the Wolf. So there you go.
Yeah,
Jordan.
Well, I think for mine, I was a little more confident than the last one, and maybe not my like most confident one overall, but I think that it's a pretty solid pick, and I could see it because he's had so many just roles where he's been that way. But I'm going to go with Benicio del Toro for my pick. So I think that he also kind of has that type of look to him, and I mean maybe not like exactly, but I mean 'cause he's a different nationality, but still like he still has the like real gritty, the real toughness. You know, you see him in things like Sin City, you see him in like Sicario, you see him in like Traffic, you see him in like a bunch of those movies, even Snatch to a degree, and but then even like Snatch kind of brings out the charisma, even in like Guardians of the Galaxy when he's the collector, that's a little charisma there. But then I can just see him being the one that just the hard nose, hard edge, barking out orders, saying get this done, and like you're almost kind of like intimidated by him. Just like, oh my gosh, like this guy's gonna kill me if I don't freaking listen to this guy. So, but he's also gonna get the job done. So I better listen to him because we need to get this done quick. So yeah, I think that he has just about everything that I can see in a Wolf character. So yeah, Benicio del Toro.
Jordan going with Benicio del Toro once again, right there. All right, Richie, your final pick.
This is gonna suck to rank, but I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, I told you they weren't gonna get any easier as we went along. They're only gonna get harder. So yeah.
So my pick for the Wolf is a guy I think it could match that gravitas. He's got that rough and gruff style that you want to that encapsulate the Wolf. I'm going Gary Oldman. I think Gary Oldman would be able to. He's got that presence, that mean presence. Then you've seen that sort of that rough and gruff stuff in like stuff like Leon the Professional, and yeah, like I think he's got that intimidating sort of presence, that screen presence that can sort of pull it off. Where like that kind of that menacing style, and that kind of that don't fuck with me kind of aura. So I'm going Gary Oldman. Yeah, I think he's still and he's sort of at this stage of his career, he's like doing more sort of support roles anyway. So I think he's more like he's not really this like kind of he's doing sort of I guess smaller-ish roles. So I think he'd fit well with the Wolf.
Malcolm said he would go with Al Pacino. I think he'd be too distracting, honestly. That's the Wolf.
Yeah, I almost went with Robert De Niro for the same reason. I feel like Robert De Niro.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
I almost with Robert De Niro also.
Yeah, De Niro might be able to work, but yeah. All right, so just a quick recap before we do our ranking. So Wolf picked Bryan Cranston for his pick of the Wolf. I picked Charles Bronson. Jordan went with Benicio del Toro, and Richie picked Gary Oldman. You see, I tried to get everybody the little tuxedo kind of look to kind of match.
This is the toughest ranking yet. I think.
Oh no, this is the toughest one so far. So this is going to be tricky. Wolfman, are you ready to rank?
Man,
yeah,
I don't know if I'm ready,
you can say no. no, because I'm going to say no as well. But yeah,
no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to rank, but I have a. That's
yes.
Which by the way, before y'all rank, I'm not going to talk about my list. I do want to mention Walter White has experience with burying dead bodies. So I do want to throw that out there as my pick, and having to get rid of dead bodies. But anyways, so my number 3 pick I'm going to have is Benicio del Toro, because I just feel like while it's a really good pick, I feel like he's a little bit too subtle of an actor at times for when he's doing these dramatic roles, but then at times I don't know which Benicio it would be. Would it be that Benicio, or would it be the Benicio of the from like Guardians of the Galaxy, that like weird goofiness and like David Bowie impression? I don't know which kind of version you would get there, so it's like a hit or miss kind of thing with me. Gary Oldman.
Sicario.
Gary Oldman is one of the greatest actors of all time, period. He's in my top 5 favorite actors of all time. I adore Gary Oldman. And he's another one that can have his like goofy kind of roles, but also can have his serious role. But I just feel like some of the stuff like in Leon the Professional, like you see him coming by, you don't want to fuck with him. Like he means business. So some of his other roles there, I feel like Gary Oldman would fit there for that. My number 1 I'm going with is Charles Bronson, because of the way he looks like the character. Like he really does look a lot like him. And I'm not like super familiar. I've seen him in stuff for sure. So, but I'm not like, I haven't seen a lot of his work, but the stuff I've seen him in, I feel like he would fit the role. And I've also just feel like he looks the part. So I'll go Charles Bronson.
All right. I'm sure you'll get one eventually, Jordan, but I can't go with Del Toro on this one. I thought that was kind of
I hope so. I didn't get one the last recast. I didn't get a single
one. You might have some later. I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to understand him. Like, I think he needs to be clear in his like instructions and stuff, and he has a tendency to mumble a little bit in a lot of his movies and like not be totally
Come on,
clear.
start speaking Spanish or something.
Yeah, if he's speaking Spanish, maybe the Spanish Pulp Fiction, maybe I can see it.
Be
I
like
just don't know if he's
One Love. You're like, oh man, he's intimidating.
well, again, and I don't know if he has that like immediate thing of like I recognize that guy. It would be like, oh, I know that guy from somewhere. But I feel like you need to have that like immediate like, oh shit. Like at the time, Harvey Keitel was like a dude, like people recognized him. He was that guy. Yeah, I think I'll go with Oldman for the second one because he is a chameleon. I can see him playing damn near anything. Obviously look at True Romance, look at Leon. I mean, all these vastly different roles. So I think he can slide into that pretty easily. But yeah, I'll go with Cranston for that one because he could do all the different sides of that. You look at him at season 1 of Breaking Bad and then season 5 of Breaking Bad, it's like a completely different character. Like it's completely like in a good way where it's like science teacher, Walter White versus like Heisenberg. Walter White is like 2 completely different people, and I think he could turn that on. So yeah, I'll go with Cranston. Jordan,
yeah. So I think, man, this one's really tough. I think I know what my number 1 is for sure, but my number 2 and 3 could literally flip flop. But I think I'm gonna say Gary Oldman for number 3, and I hate to do it because Gary Oldman's so awesome. Like I love Gary Oldman, and like he can become a chameleon, and he can do like almost any role. See, that's the thing. He's not really like really typecast as like any one thing. I feel like he can just like disappear behind any role. So he could do it, but at the same time though, I don't think that's like where it's like, I don't know, like I don't want to say like it's not his specialty because maybe it kind of is, but it's just, I don't know. I just kind of like the other 2 picks slightly more. So it was just really tough because Bryan Cranston, so I have him for number 2 and I wasn't completely sold on him when I thought of the bald look, but then you just show him with hair and like, oh yeah, that kind of fits, and like he could just do everything that he does as Heisenberg with a head of hair, and in the final season you do kind of see that, and I do though. Like why I don't put him 1 is because he does deal with bodies, but for a while he's kind of like a fish out of water. He doesn't know what to do with this body. I gotta hide this, but like what do I do other than the science of like using some kind of chemical to like dissolve it, So you got a 70s one, Austin, because Charles Bronson, I think that he's got the look. I'm more familiar with Charles Bronson. Me and my ex-wife watched a lot of Charles Bronson movies. He plays like a lot of hitmen, a lot of guys with like guns, kind of going for revenge and like doing a lot of that kind of stuff, dealing with a lot of dead bodies a lot, and then also kind of just being like the leader of like a team, kind of from like the Dirty Dozen. He that kind of the guy everyone's listening to, and he just kind of fits the role. He's got the look, so yeah, I'll go Charles Bronson.
All right, Richie.
Yeah, this was really tough, but yeah, I ultimately number 3. I went with Benicio del Toro. I just think I do like the pick. I just think he's a bit too different, and like I haven't seen like while he's intimidating and he fits that mold. I haven't seen like the whole. Yeah, I just think like I kind of agree with Pez with about the understand him a bit. But I do like the pick. Number 2, I'm gonna go Bryan Cranston. I can definitely see that, and then especially how he involves in Heisenberg, and I can see that he's got that the intimidating presence, and that charisma to pull it off. So that is a good pick, yeah. But yeah, like I don't know, Pez one with the photo, yeah, and just like he's almost built for that role. Like I'm pretty sure, if it was a different era, that it would be on Quentin Tarantino's list that came out. It would have been.
I'm 100% positive if he made this movie in like 1974, instead of 94, he would pick Charles Bronson for this role. He would write that shit for Charles Bronson. I'm 100% positive of that. Like, I'm doing this in case Tarantino for some reason sees this show. I want to make him proud. So that's what I'm going for. Whether or not that you guys, pot him up there, I want to make him proud. I have at least 2 picks. This and another pick. I would think are kind of shoe-ins, like where I'd be like, come on. Like when we get there, you'll see. But like the other ones I'll have to sell a little bit. But that's okay. I just wanted to at least get one of these 70s guys on there, at least.
Well, to be fair, if Tarantino was doing the Spanish version of Pulp Fiction, then Benicio, I think you would pick him probably.
Probably. All right. Well, let's move on to a very memorable role, to say the least. Let's go to Marsellus Wallace, played by Ving Rhames, who obviously has plenty of memorable scenes to choose from, but I'll go with a speech I think most people are pretty familiar with. So here you go.
What now? Let me tell you what now. I'm gonna call a couple of hard pipe-hitting niggas to go to work on the homes here with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch. You hear me talking, hillbilly boy? I ain't through with you by a damn sight. I'm gonna get medieval on your ass.
And I think Ving Rhames might get medieval on us for trying to recast his role as Marsellus Wallace, but we'll try to keep it as respectful as we possibly can to Ving Rhames.
Well, can I just say that Wolf, you stole my pick. I won't say what it is, but when you get there.
Oh, okay. So it's not anyone.
You pick.
I've already been cussed out once already.
But we are casting the role of Marsellus Wallace, played, of course, beautifully by Ving Rhames. So yes, again, he is great. He is perfect for the role. But we're going to do our best to play around with it. So I guess it's to me this time. So yeah, again, for this one, Malcolm, this is Bobby Lashley's Marsellus Wallace. Come on, what are we doing? He's gonna put people in the hurt lock. What are we doing, Malcolm? All right,
he's black and he's bold.
That's right. That's our only criteria.
He's picking all wrestlers for his picks.
So yeah, again, I'm sticking with my 70s theme, of course, and I think you want a guy who I've got a guy who literally has played a Bond villain. He has played kind of an everyman. He has played a gangster in multiple movies. He again has that kind of intimidating presence. He got those eyes, that wit about him that you don't want to fuck with this guy. He's got the size. he's got, you know, that intimidation factor to where you just wouldn't want to screw with this guy. You feel like he's a big presence. I went with Yaphet Kotto, who was in Live and Let Die, who's in Alien, you know, Running Man, Midnight Run. Again, he's been in a million movies. But yeah, Yaphet Kotto just has that big kind of build in the presence, that don't fuck with me attitude that I think Marsellus Wallace has. He's got the booming voice. You've heard his voice. It's kind of very similar. You know, he can really put that on. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. But I like all these picks. But yeah, I went with my 70s pick of Yaphet Kotto. All right, so Jordan.
Yeah. Well, so even though I said that the Wolf stole my pick, I think this pick's almost just as good though. So I'm actually pretty happy with it. So I went with someone who can be pretty much just as intimidating, if not more. I went with Michael Clark Duncan for my pick. So and for him in things like The Green Mile, for sure, playing the Kingpin there. He was Kingpin in Daredevil, right?
Yeah. No, that's why I pulled that one, because he's got the suit and stuff. I just want to pull that. Yeah, kind of a gangster.
Yeah, so for that, and then also for you see him in things like Armageddon. You see him in but sadly he was cut. That they passed away far too soon before we got to see him do a lot of things. But I mean, we got to see a fair that he's done at least 40 something movies, something like that, or maybe more. But yeah, he's very intimidating. If I came across this guy, I would just turn around and just run before he said or did anything. I wouldn't mess with this guy. But there are evil enough people that would they don't care who they're going up against. They'll mess with them. They'll put the ball gag in him and do all that crazy stuff that happens to the character, and then you can see him coming back for revenge and being very intimidating. So, but also having some charisma to him a little bit. So yeah.
All right. So Jordan goes with Michael Clark Duncan. Richie.
Cool. Well, I'm also sort of a Marvel-esque pick, I guess, sort of in that kind of universe. A guy that I can see being intimidating, and a guy I want to see in more stuff. I'm going with Mike Coulter, Luke Cage. I think that the dude is I could definitely see him as an intimidating presence. That guy you don't want to fuck with. He's definitely a guy. I think he's a really good actor who should be seen in more stuff. And yeah, I could definitely see him I think he's a badass. And I could definitely he could just pull off the gravitas and charisma. I wouldn't say that word a lot because all these characters have charisma in this movie. So I think he pulled off the gravitas and charisma and the screen presence needed to pull off the scenes that Marsellus does in this movie. So Mike Coulter.
All right, Mike Coulter from Luke Cage and Plane with Gerard Butler. That's
Plane,
right.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, Wolfman, what you got? What you got from Marsellus?
So, much like what Austin did with his argument on for Charles Bronson, I'm going to do the pitcher argument as well and say Terry Crews. That is just look at that. That is Marsellus Wallace right there. He literally even dressed up as Marsellus Wallace for a pitcher. He is literally the perfect casting. He's got the badassness to him to be Marsellus Wallace. He's got the bigness to him and the big size of him, but he's also can be threatening. We've seen him in roles where he can come across as threatening and more you don't want to fuck with him, and he's got that kind of charisma and that kind of almost pimp-esque kind of attitude a bit too. So I feel like he's just overall the perfect embodiment of Marsellus Wallace, and that's why I picked Terry Crews. So,
all right.
I mean, I would love to see all these guys go up in a fight and see which one would win. Yeah, who knows?
All right. So, just a quick recap before we rank my 70s pick of Yaphet Kotto. We got Jordan's pick of Michael Clark Duncan. We've got Richie's pick of Mike Coulter. and we got Wolf's pick of Terry Crews. So there we go. All right. Yeah. So I know both you guys went for it, but my third, I'm going to go with Terry Crews. I think he comes off as too comedic in most of his stuff. I think him when he's trying to be a tough guy, you look at stuff like Malibu's Most Wanted, where he's like one of the henchmen there, like it comes off as funny. Like I think he's too funny for the role. Like I think him trying to act all serious, the same thing in like Friday After Next. He tries to act hard and tough, and it comes off as funny. Like I almost kind of disagree. Like I know he's got the size and everything, and kind of the look, but to me, it's also about like if they can pull off the character. And I don't know about Terry Crews. I know he did the photo shoot. That's fine, but it's not always about the look for me, like except in certain cases, but where it's just uncanny. But yeah, I'll go with Terry Crews for number 3. My number 2 will be Mike Coulter, just because I know he's good. You know, and what I've seen him in, I think he's good in Plane. He's good in Luke Cage. I need to see a little bit more of him. You know, maybe to see if he's got that range. But I still like his look, and I like the feel of him, and he is a big, intimidating dude. But yeah, Jordan, you got my vote on this one. I like Michael Clark Duncan a lot because holy shit, if I saw Michael Clark Duncan and I knew that guy was coming after me, if I was Butch and I knew that dude was coming after me, it'd be over. And if I ran into him in the street, I'd be getting the hell out of there pretty damn quick. He's got the booming voice. Yeah, he can be, super scary, but also be kind of, have that kind of calm, cool thing like we've seen in stuff like Armageddon, or even as the Kingpin. So yeah, I'll go with Michael Clark Duncan for number 1. Jordan?
Yeah. Sounds good. So, for me, just why I have to put it for number 3, I just don't. And maybe because I'm not familiar with it, I don't think he quite has the size to him. But I'm going to say Yaphet Kotto. Everything else, though, I think he has the intimidation. He has the kind of look and the like the certain kind of like personality, but I just don't think he quite has the size there. I mean, a little bigger, but I mean,
you do know he's 6'3" and he's like 200 pounds, right? Like that's almost as big as Ving Rhames is in real life.
And also at the end of the day, I don't know if the character is necessarily 100% like has to be like some giant of a guy. I don't know, but
you picked a giant for your character.
I know.
You picked the biggest guy out of all of us.
I know. I'm just saying. Like I'm just trying to like throw you a little bit.
I don't know if he'd be big, but I picked a guy who's like 6'6".
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying anything against
maybe like
pick.
300 over 300 pounds.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying it doesn't have to be, but it does help if he is. So, and then for my number 2, I have Mike Coulter. I think maybe I just would want to see a little more from him, and I think that he definitely has the like attitude, and he's very intimidating, and like and I like what he did for Luke Cage. I thought he was like a perfect pick for that character. So for that character, he's like spot on. For this one, he's like just barely not quite there for me, but I still really like the pick. That's still good. But yeah, I mean, I tried to pick him also, Terry Crews, and I kind of thought about the personality a little, but like I wanted to argue for him. I'm not going to now because I didn't pick him, but I was like, if I pick this guy, I'm going to fight for him, But yeah, I think that he's got the size, even though like I just said that like it doesn't like for that it may not be, but it may be. I'm just not sure. I don't know. But and then he's definitely probably like the buffest out of all of them. He's like a world like a champion bodybuilder, and like I think that if he wanted to bring it, he could bring it. So I'll say Terry Crews for number 1.
All right, Richie.
For my number 3, what do they gonna be that guy as well? I'm gonna go Terry Crews. I know you said he's intimidating in certain roles. I've more seen him as comedic. I feel like I would just I would see him fighting and doing these like intimidating lines. I'm just in my head, I'd be like, just see the white chick say, "Make my way downtown." I know. I just see him as this big. I see him as this big, like sort of cuddly, nice dude. I don't know.
Just watch him flex his pecs over and over.
Yeah. He just
y'all watched AGT before this, and then y'all saw him as the host, and all like charisma, like, oh, what? And all that stuff.
Yeah, he's like America's sweetheart, Terry Crews. I just don't buy that as Marsellus Wallace. Like, does he look like a bitch? Well, kinda. On AG America's Got Talent, yeah, kinda.
And number 2, I can't remember perhaps his name, but your pick, Pez.
Yaphet
Kotto. I just not as you just tell. That's really I've seen him in Running Man. It's good. I'm just not as familiar, but I enjoyed it. Like steadily does sort of fit that role. But I actually do. I think almost Wolf did you a solid, Jordan, because I think you got a better pick out of it. Because
I think you got a better pick.
No, did.
Because I hadn't thought about Michael Clark Duncan, but that's a great choice. He's intimidating. He's got I think I could see him delivering that line. He's got charisma. He's funny. Yeah, it's a slam dunk. That's a great pick, Michael Clark Duncan.
Mm-hmm. All right, Wolf.
Okay, so I need to preface this by actually saying initially I actually wrote down and picked Michael Clark Duncan. But the reason I changed it to Terry Crews is this reason. And Michael Clark Duncan is my number 3, and I will explain why. Because, he's got the size, but like y'all said, size is not everything. I rewatched Daredevil before Deadpool and Wolverine. And when he was on screen as Kingpin, I was like, dude, you are literally the nicest actor in Hollywood. You are a big, giant, warm teddy bear. I can't see you as Kingpin. Like, you are the nicest.
You picked Terry Crews.
No, but like he at least has like when you see Terry Crews, you see the smile, the it's okay, dogs. You see that kind of personality to him. Like he's a puppy dog. Like that's his personality. And I just feel like Terry Crews doesn't have the puppy dog personality like what Michael Clark Duncan has. Michael Clark Duncan is like full on a gigantic.
Look at the roles though that he's played. I mean, maybe as an actor,
but like the Green Mile though, was a bad example because that is one of his most teddy bear roles. Like he is a teddy bear in that film. Like he is like you want to hug him, you want to like cradle up to him, you want to like pull say like everything's okay, man, all that stuff. Like I don't.
Because your dreams now will kick out.
No, but I'm just saying, like, for me personally, I understand why y'all love him, and he does have the size and stature, but I just don't. I feel like his personality, I would just say, like, dude, you are like, where's your smile? I'm getting ready for that Michael Clark Duncan smile at any moment, stuff like that. So, then I have next is Mike Coulter. I think he's really good. I think he's a really good pick. He could be a badass. He could be. Have the look to him. I don't know how tall he is. I don't know if he's got the size or not, but I know he's definitely got the stature and build to him. But my number 1 is actually going to be Yaphet Kotto. I think he does fit the look. I think he has that kind of, especially if he went bald. If he went bald, I could see that look for him. I could see he is like 6'3". He's a big, tall, burly guy. So I could definitely see him fitting that role. So Yaphet Kotto is my number 1.
Okay. It's so oddly enough, you guys were fighting over Terry Crews, and he comes in last place on the thing. And then Mike Coulter and Yaphet Kotto tie with 6. But despite Wolf's reservations, you got 2. First place was Jordan, so you did get one. Michael Clark Duncan.
Got one.
Winston, you got one.
Might be the only one I get, but
so we actually right now it is even. We all have a pick. You had Aaron Paul, Honey Bunny, Richie got Margaret Qualley, I got Charles Bronson, and Jordan, you got Michael Clark Duncan. So we are halfway through, and we have an even split so far. So there you go. All right. So we're looking good. Everybody's got some good again. Super hard, so everybody's getting good picks, and it's tough to see. So we will go to the role of Butch, somebody that goes kind of hand in hand with Marsellus Wallace. Obviously, their stories are very much intertwined with the chase. Obviously played by Bruce Willis. So let's take a look at Butch just for about a minute or so.
It's there.
No, it's not.
Have you looked?
Yes, I fucking look. What the fuck do you think I'm doing? You sure you got it?
Yes, bedside table drawer.
And the little kangaroo?
Yes, it was on your little kangaroo.
Yeah, well, it's not here now.
Well, it should be.
Yes, it most definitely should be, but it's not here now. So where the fuck is it? Fabian, it's my father's fucking watch. You have any idea what he had to go through to get me that watch? I don't have time to go into it, but he went through a lot. Now, all this other shit you could set on fire, but I specifically reminded you not to forget the fucking watch! Now think. Did you get it?
I believe so.
You believe so? What the fuck does that mean? You either did or you didn't!
That goes on for a little bit longer. We're gonna stop there, but obviously, yes, Butch played by the great Bruce Willis. Got a bloodier picture of him there, with a very famous scene with the sword that ties into Marsellus there. But yeah, so we'll be recasting Butch here, played by Bruce Willis. So we are back around the horn, Jordan. We are back to you to kick us off.
All right. Well, yeah, I went with someone that I feel like kind of has like a similar kind of modern day vibe to Bruce Willis in a lot of ways, and I'll explain why. But I picked Ryan Gosling for that pick. So you can see him there with some shorter hair, even too. But
I tried to pick some comparable hair and like looks, for everybody. So again, I tried to sort of match the vibe. So there you go.
Yeah, and like nowadays, like Ryan Gosling, he's ripped. Like he's about as buff as Bruce Willis, if not even more buff. And I just feel like he has the intimidation factor. I can see him coming in with like the baseball bat, but then the sword and like all that stuff. And like Bruce Willis's character, the Butch character, he has some funny moments, but he has some pretty like serious moments with his dad. And then when he goes in to save Marsellus Wallace and like I just think of like some of Ryan Gosling's role, like you have Drive, or you go back to like Only God Forgives, or like A Place Beyond the Pines, even Gangster Squad to a degree, or like Blade Runner. Like he has some fights in there with like Dave Bautista and that sort of thing, and he can hold his own. And then even the Nice Guys, he's like bringing the charisma, and the character has a little bit of that, but he's not all that, and I feel like he could really bring it as that character. So I'll go Ryan Gosling.
By the way, all these picks are really good. All we're going to get going forward is, holy shit, this is really tough. And these are all good picks. So I'm just telling you guys in advance, because wait till you see the rest of these picks. And then you're going to try to do this. So Richie, hit him with another really good pick, because I like all these picks. So.
All right, cool. So my pick, I think he, captures sort of the unhingedness, if that's the word, of the character, and I think in charisma, and I think could do it really well. My pick is Ben Foster. I think Ben Foster is a great actor. And he's a really great character actor, as we've seen, and he can play the unhinged personality really well. That fly off the handle, there's tons of roles, like Hell or High Water, and then there's like a lot of roles, mechanic, where he is that sort of like that short fuse guy, but he's also got those acting chops where he can hit those emotional beats with when it comes to the father's watch scenario, and I just think and I think he's just got the kind of that he also kind of looks like a sort of like a Bruce Willis type. So and he can be funny as well. So I think he would be a good fit. So Ben Foster.
All right, Richie goes with Ben Foster, maybe one of our, as we said, one of our great actors who doesn't have an Oscar on his mantle. So for sure. All right, Wolf, what you got?
So for my pick of Butch, this is one of the ones I'm like most confident in, because I tried to pick someone who was like, I thought of as this dude's the ultimate badass, but he is also like who was it that can match up the charisma that Bruce Willis has, and the kind of like holding his head down, like this kind of look to him, and like that kind of personality. And for me, I went with John Bernthal. I think that he is like dream casting here because look at that. He already looks grizzled, just like Bruce Willis does in the movie. He has that, but we've also seen him be unhinged in stuff like The Punisher and other stuff like that, to where he can be like unhinged kind of role. But then we've also seen him have a lot of heart. Austin knows, he watched Origin. That movie, he has like a really more heartfelt kind of emotional performance to him. But then he's also just got the badassness to him, and just the range, as we've seen like stuff in The Bear and everything, and just like he comes across as somebody who would definitely like fuck you up if he wanted to, but also like just giving you also that really good guy kind of vibe too, that like deep down, like if you talk to him. So that's why I went with John Bernthal as my pick.
All right, so Wolf goes with John Bernthal. And yeah, so again, sticking with my 70s theme, I'm not straying now. They're all 70s all the time. I went with a guy who's literally been labeled kind of the king of cool from around that time, a guy who can be cool, calm, and collected, but can also be that badass when he needs to be in stuff like Bullet or The Getaway or The Great Escape. I went with Steve McQueen, and I think a guy who Bruce Willis was compared to Steve McQueen when he was first kind of rising up in Hollywood. He looks good on a motorcycle. That's key later when he gets on the motorcycle and rides off. Who looks better on a motorcycle than Steve McQueen? Obviously from The Great Escape. Fun fact, Steve McQueen was a boxer in real life, much like the character of Butch. He boxed. He looks like one of those kind of old school guys who is already like a seasoned boxer. I think that's important to the character, that Butch is like on his way out of boxing, like he's heading towards retirement. I think Steve McQueen can pull off that sort of seasoned look and play, the little bit older style. But again, you think about scenes like when he's facing off with Ving Rhames, where you're just hearing Ving Rhames' voice and just watching him. He can do that lean back, just kind of being cool, taking it all in, and how cool he is when he just stands there and blows John Travolta away, in the bathroom. You could definitely see Steve McQueen doing that. Again, the king of cool, who can be a badass when he needs to be. So yeah, my pick is Steve McQueen. So 70s era Steve McQueen. All right. So didn't say they were going to get any easier. Right? Jesus, right? So just to recap, so Jordan picks Ryan Gosling, Richie picks Ben Foster, Wolf goes with John Bernthal, and I went with Steve McQueen. So again, another super tough pick to go around. So do your best, gentlemen. Do the best you can. But yeah, here we go. So Jordan, we'll start with you since you kicked us off.
Pass. Can I pass on the
pass.
round?
Oh, that's on my other. I don't want to switch banners, but like I have to go to the other one to switch that.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, this one's really tough, and I don't really have a lot of like justification as to why. I just have more of a reasoning for my number one, but just in number three, I have Ben Foster. I don't know. Like I can't really even like justify as to why. I just kind of like the other one just a little better because it is a really good pick. But and then for number two, I have Steve McQueen because I can see it, but like I just don't know if I've seen like enough to where like I just see like that like ultimate charisma kind of thing from him. I see the badassness for sure, but my number one. Just John Bernthal because of the charisma, because I've met him in person. He has charisma in person, and like also like just like seeing him from things like The Walking Dead, even like he has great performances there, or like in The Bear. But then he also was the Punisher, and he freaking ruled as the Punisher. I thought that was almost perfect casting, and yeah, like it just works all around. I can see him doing all the things that Butch does in the movie. I can see John Bernthal probably pulling it off just slightly more, but it's really close. So, yeah.
All right, Richie.
So this is fuck, man. This is tough. My number three, I'm gonna go Ryan Gosling. I think he's too pretty. I don't think he has that grizzled look like the others do. That's really the only, acting wise he could do it. But yeah, I don't know, just more appearances.
You don't look like a Ken doll or anything, right?
Yeah, but number 2. This is tough, and it's great. I was flip flopping in my head, but number 2, I'm gonna go John Bernthal. I think it's a great pick. I just think, I feel like I'm the opposite of Jordan. I've seen more evidence of maybe, because I watch older movies and more charisma on screen. I've seen McQueen, so it's very flip floppy. But I'm going to go see McQueen by a hair. But those are all great picks.
All right.
I just need to watch more 70s movies.
If you watch Bullet or The Getaway, like you'd see it. You'd see it easily. Yeah, it's like 70s.
I've seen Bullet. I haven't seen the other.
Yeah. All right, Wolf.
So number 3 for me is Ryan Gosling for the same reason. Even The Nice Guys, he plays more of like a punk, a whiny punk, and it's like it's Russell Crowe that's like kind of the more grizzled kind of person. So that's one reason. That's why Ryan Gosling is number 3 for me. Number 2, I am gonna go with Ben Foster. I think that is a really good pick. But I feel like he also is a little like too subtle. He's been a few times, maybe like Hell or High Water, maybe he has like charisma, but I don't really. He's not one that really spills charisma when you see him on the screen. But he's got the acting chops for sure to pull it off, and the look. I think he could if he was cast in there. But yeah, my number 1 is also Steve McQueen. And I feel like also Tarantino. That's one that Tarantino would also vibe with and would pick if he made Pulp Fiction in the 70s, because I feel like he loves Steve McQueen overall for all those reasons. He is a boxer, the motorcycle, it just has that kind of like, I mean, the picture you chose isn't the most badass picture. Like the face he's making looks very odd, but it's still one of those.
I just wanted to get him on the motorcycle because the last we see of Bruce Willis in that movie is him riding off on the motorcycles. So I figured,
it looks like he's like trying to take a shit at him. But it is a really great inspired choice. So I'll definitely say Steve.
Yeah.
Have you guys not seen The Place Beyond the Pines motorcycle? Hello.
I almost went with that, but I figured the picture of him more looking like with like kind of shaved head,
Yeah,
because he looks more of like he's got like the goofy blonde hair and like The Place Beyond the Pines, and looks so silly. And look, my third's gonna be Gosling, but really for the reason that the character Butch is like this 20-year boxing veteran who's like on his way out. I just don't see Gosling as that. I think he needs to be more seasoned looking. I think you need somebody a little bit older, a guy that looks like he's been, boxing in the ring for like 20 years, and is ready to hang it up, something like that. I just don't think Gosling is there yet. Maybe he will be in about 10 years and he can pull that off. My second, I'll go Ben Foster, because again, that guy's a chameleon. I can see him playing damn near anything. And he does have that look where he looks older now, especially, and can probably pull off. But man, that Bernthal pick's a fucking inspired pick. I saw that shit. I was like, God damn, dude, that's perfect. Because Bernthal's older now. Yeah, he can look like a guy that's just been beat to shit for the last 20 years, but can also have that silent, cool quality and turn it on when he needs to. So yeah, but that gives us a quandary because we have a tie between Steve McQueen and John Bernthal, both at 8 points. So if we have anybody in the comments, this is where we go to the comments for the tiebreaker. Actually, we do have a couple people watching. So if anybody wants to comment and break the tie, the first one I see between Steve McQueen and John Bernthal, we'll take that. So we did have a few people watching. If it takes a minute to get them in, I'll come back to it. But for right now, we have a tie between Steve McQueen and John Bernthal. So whoever wants to chime in the comments with one or the other, I will keep an eye out for that. But for now, we'll move on, and we'll come back to that shortly. If we have to just kind of flip a coin or something, we'll do that. We'll see what happens. But as we go along, we'll move up the ladder. We're getting kind of to the final three here. So again, it's not going to get any easier because we are going to Mia Wallace, played by Uma Thurman here, and a little picture of her. There you go, with the hair, with the cigarette, all that. And let's take a look very quickly at a little scene from Mia Wallace.
Vincent, do you want to hear my Fox Force 5 joke?
Sure. Except I think I'm still a little too petrified to laugh.
No, you won't laugh because it's not funny. But if you still want to hear it, I'll tell it.
I can't wait.
Okay. 3 tomatoes are walking down the street. Papa tomato, mama tomato, and baby tomato. Baby tomato starts lagging behind, and Papa tomato gets really angry. Goes back and squishes him. Says, ketchup. Ketchup. See you around.
All right, there you go. Uma Thurman as Mia Wallace. Looking a little rough there, worse for wear. Looking like she might have just overdosed on drugs or something, you think. Yeah.
Maybe.
So rough. Leo chimed in and went with John Bernthal. So there you go.
Right.
There
it is.
Take it for that one. There you go. But yeah, we're moving on to Mia Wallace, of course, originally played by Uma Thurman here in this movie. Just one more picture there before we get going of her. And this time we will start with Richie for your pick for the new Mia Wallace.
Cool. Well, I won't. This is the pick where I won't reveal about the fucking wolf dickhead over here stole. But you know, my backup pick is probably one out of the box, and like someone who I want to see more of, and I think she's she was really good in Happy Death Day and Boy Kills World. I went with Jessica Roth. I could just like she's got that
Got a picture of her looking a little rough in Happy Death Day after a while. So
I just think like this most like person that people think of right away, but I think she's just got that. It probably makes similar to the Mike Holt thing. I just want to see more stuff, but also she's got that that charisma and gravitas that pull it off, and like I think she's also got that sort of that that sex appeal as well. But also I just think she's and she can be quite funny. I think she's got great screen presence, and I think she's just one of those people I think is just ready to sort of break out more, because I think like she became like a bit of a name with Happy Death Day. Like she's like there's that chick, but not like sort of household. I think this is kind of the next step up. So yeah, I'll just go Roth. And now Wolf, you tell them what you picked. That's right from under me. No, just
I got cussed out on Rankum yesterday because I picked this pick from Richie, but I was like, but it was the first person I wrote down as soon as I was coming up with this cast list. I was like, oh my god, yes, this girl has the charisma. She looks at everything, and I'm going with Emma Stone. And the reason I'm going with Emma Stone, I mean, look at that. She's already got a cigarette in her hand.
I tried to pick. I couldn't find anything with Jessica Roth with a cigarette, but I got everybody else with a cigarette. So I'll just throw that out there.
Okay.
because every picture of like Mia from all the promotional stuff and a lot of the scenes is her holding a cigarette. Obviously, I had that one. So
yeah. But no, I think that Emma Stone, she's got the dancing part down. We've seen her many times now with La La Land, Poor Things, Kinds of Kindness. She does these wacky dance things. So it's like the whole dance scene between her and Vincent doing the whole thing like that. And then whenever she's about to snort cocaine, she does the whole "You'll be a woman soon," and she's doing that like dance. That's like that would be like that's Emma Stone. That's her kind of charisma that she has, that vibe. And I just feel like she's got this. She's got that like warmth to her, like Mia Wallace has, that you feel where like she can just smile and you're like really like her a lot. And then she's extremely likable. She's super charismatic. She looks the part. I feel like she really does look like Mia Wallace. She kind of has a look that like could go as like kind of almost like a drug addict look almost. I don't mean to sound like rude to Emma Stone, but she does have kind of like that look a little bit. So but no, she's also, we know she's a 2-time Oscar-winning actress. We know she's a phenomenal actress, so she definitely would pull this off well. And I just think that Emma Stone is honestly the dream pick for Mia Wallace. So,
all right, All right, so Wolf goes with Emma Stone. This one might be the hardest sell for me, just as far as any of y'all having seen much of her work. So this one, will probably die a death. But I did beta test this one with some fans of classic movies, and it got the approval. But it is what it is. We'll see if you guys go with it. I went with somebody who again I think has that kind of that bad girl quality, but that super sexiness. She actually is a Golden Globe winner, so she can act. She's played a gunslinger. She's played a cave woman. She's played, a romantic lead. She's played everything. If you dig in her filmography, I went with Raquel Welch, who is a 70s kind of heartthrob. She's, you may actually most know her as in the Shawshank Redemption. Tim Robbins gets her 1 million BC pick, one of his posters on his wall throughout the movie. She's one of the girls. But yeah, she's really good. She's got, again, that kind of, like she's super sexy, but you can see her being like kind of that person who is with a gangster and kind of can play that super cool and kind of doing drugs off to the side. So yeah, it's a really good pick, but I understand if you guys don't roll with it because you just haven't seen that much of her work. I would understand that, but my pick is Raquel Welch. So yeah. All right, Jordan.
Yeah. So I went with someone that I think has the kind of cool, like the personality, but also the charisma. So I went with Anya Taylor-Joy for my pick.
I got a cigarette pick for her too, Jordan, from the menu.
Nice. Yeah. See, and I think if you just dye her hair black or you throw on a wig on her, like I think she can look pretty similar to Mia Wallace, and like she has a lot of range too. Especially like the menus are probably where I really see it a lot. But I mean, Last Night in Soho. I mean, even Furiosa, she's got like a badass quality to her. Even in like the New Mutants, I know it's not a great movie, but what she's doing with her charisma, or like Emma, she's got the charisma, but then she's got the cool characters. And I think that like maybe even Last Night in Soho might be the closest to like the Mia Wallace character, maybe because she can dance in it. She's in the club. She's doing all that, and yeah, I think that she just has a lot of range, but she's also pretty attractive. And I think Mia Wallace, like she has the attractiveness, but also you can see Anya Taylor-Joy just being the kind of rough and a crazy look like we see in like Furiosa, or even in the Northman to an extent, and that's totally different of a role. But for like the kind of crazy, not like as attractive look, she can kind of go both ways. You can see that. So yeah. So I'll go Anya Taylor-Joy.
All right. So again, another round of good picks. We've got Richie's pick of Jessica Roth. We got Wolf's pick of Emma Stone. We got my pick of Raquel Welch, and we got Jordan's pick of Anya Taylor-Joy. So again, another round of interesting picks. But yeah, we'll start with Richie.
Yeah. I am familiar with Raquel Welch. She's actually in the original Bedazzled, right?
She sure is. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm familiar. She only passed away quite recently, right? A few years ago.
Yeah, she passed away about a year ago, actually, not that long ago. Yeah, and Jordan, you might know her. She did a stint on Seinfeld. Remember where Kramer had to fire Raquel Welch as part of keeping his Tony Award?
Oh,
in order to keep the Tony, he had to go fire Raquel Welch from the Broadway show, and she was a monster. So yeah, that might be the thing where you're most familiar with her. Actually, that was later in the 90s. All right, anyways, Richard.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like I haven't like seen a lot of her stuff. So like, but I do. If I was sort of going the 70s route that you're doing, it should come to mind for sure. But yeah, I will. It's a good choice, but I will put it at number 3.
That's fine. I'll go ahead and put 1 point for each of the Raquel Welches and save you guys some time. So I know just pick between the other ones.
Yeah. Number 2, and I swear it's not spite. I just thought that, like, I actually was thinking about it, and I actually think like I could, I think it'd be a unique choice. Number 2, I'm gonna go Emma Stone. While I think it's with looks, I think it nails it. Maybe it's me just being on Anya Taylor-Joy kick at the moment, but like I think she's got the charisma to pull it off. She's like again. I think she's got that like sort of sex appeal, but again, it falls into the unconventionally attractive. But I don't know. I think she could. I know. I think she could pull it off. So I'm gonna give it to Jordan here.
Okay. Wolf.
Emma Stone is also unconventionally attractive. Doing it. Yeah. My number 3, I'm gonna go with Jessica Roth. I just need to see more of her stuff. Like, I'm only really familiar with her in Happy Death Day and her very, very short role in La La Land. And I haven't seen her yet, and I haven't seen Boy Kills World, so I haven't seen her in that one yet. So I don't know. So I don't know how she is in that, but it is a really good pick, and I feel like she definitely would work. I feel like look wise, you don't have to put one behind Rockwell Walsh each time, because I was looking out for that, and I was like, okay, I'll still make her my number 2. I think that is still a valid pick. I think that's still a strong pick, especially with the 70s kind of route that you are going with. And then I picked another wife of mine, which is Anya Taylor-Joy. She is if you watch stuff like The Queen's Gambit, I like in that show.
I forgot about that one.
In that show, there's literally a part where she's like drunk and she's like singing like this while she's like drunk and all that stuff, and she's like doing this dancing thing like that. And so it's one of those things where she looks a lot like Mia Wallace when she's like high and she's like trying to do the dance and stuff. So I could definitely see her pulling that off, and she's got the sex appeal and everything to her. So yeah, that definitely I see as a really inspired pick. So
all right. My third, again, just because I need to see more of her, Richie. I don't mind Jessica Roth. I just need to see more of her range, see if she can pull it off. But I don't necessarily mind like the pick. I think it was all right. I understand that Wolf stole your pick, so I totally get that. So you might have a stronger one. I totally understand. You got to throw something last minute. It's all right. Number 2, I'll go Emma Stone. She's got the acting chops, obviously, and the dancing chops. But goddamn, if I was going for the modern one, when Jordan threw out Anya Taylor-Joy, I was like, fucking bullseye for Mia Wallace. Like that, she's almost like the modern day Uma Thurman. Like she's got that kind of unconventional sexiness. She can do the action, she can do drama, she can do a little comedy here and there if she needs to, and stuff like The Menu. Be kind of darkly funny. I think she has that dark side she's shown in movies so far. That would be like if I was going the modern route, like I would have fought you for Anya Taylor-Joy, Jordan. So I'm going with that. Yeah. That's
and also she's about the perfect age too, I think.
Pretty much, she got the look. But Jordan, what would you go with?
So I don't mean this as like any kind of like slide against anyone. I don't really feel like inspired for any of these 3 picks. Really, I just don't. But I do have a ranking though, and my only reason is I'm not as familiar with Raquel Welch, but I do know her though. I have seen her in some things that. She's even done like comedy and like she can be like funny with like charisma and that stuff. But and then I just got Roth for number 2. Even though I love her as an actress, like if you haven't seen Boy Kills World, you should see that because she's really cool in it. She's just not like the Mia Wallace type, though. In my opinion, I think that she's really good for what she's doing, and honestly, she could be one of my favorite actors working today because I have. Happy Death Day in my 128, and then Boy Kills World my number 2 movie of the year. But for Emma Stone, like literally like the only reason why I ever number 1 that she knows how to dance, and she knows how to dance like really well because we saw La La Land and we've seen that, and then we've seen kind of more of like some like badass like with the charisma and stuff like Zombieland or like I don't know like that's. Probably the main one, like maybe Cruella does a little bit too. So yeah, I'll go with Emma Stone.
All right. Well, Emma Stone right behind there. I think it's a good pick. I think Emma Stone can actually pull it off. Like it's good. Even when you add that extra little factor of the looks, for me, Anya Taylor-Joy is like right there. Like it's just there. So Jordan, you got another one. So there you go.
I almost went with Margot Robbie, but then I was like, I feel like she's too pretty. So
she's too pretty.
I almost went with her too.
You would almost go with not Margot Robbie. What's her name? the other chick that looks like her from Ready or Not.
Yeah, Samara Weaving.
Samara Weaving. I would almost go with
that'd be a good
Samara
one.
Weaving because she's almost like the rougher, like tougher,
Yeah.
like version of Margot Robbie, and like I could almost see that actually. So I think Richie, that would have been a decent pick. I might have gone with that at least for a second or something like that. But all right, well, we go with Anya Taylor-Joy on the voting for that one. All right, so we're getting into our kind of co-leads here. We're getting into the role of Vincent Vega, played by John Travolta. So let's take a look real quick at Vincent Vega, and of course, a pretty famous speech. You guys will recognize this one pretty quickly.
But you know the funniest thing about Europe is?
What?
It's the little differences. I mean, they got the same shit over there that they got here, but it's just there. It's a little different.
Example.
All right, well, you can walk into a movie theater in Amsterdam and buy a beer. And I don't mean just like no paper cup. I'm talking about a glass of beer. And in Paris, you can buy beer in McDonald's. And you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
They don't call it a quarter pounder with cheese?
Oh, man, they got the metric system. They wouldn't know what the fuck a quarter pounder is.
And what do they call it?
They call it Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
That's right.
What do they call a Big Mac?
Big Mac's a Big Mac, but they call it Le Big Mac.
Le Big Mac. What do they call a Whopper?
I don't know. I didn't go on a Burger King.
He didn't go to Burger King.
Big Mac.
We don't know what we call it Whopper. Yeah. All right, but there you go. Yeah. So we're getting into the kind of the duo here, as we've got Vincent Vega played by John Travolta, of course. We'll see what everybody's got for. Again, this is not going to get any easier. This is going to get tougher. So, Wolfman, kick us off if you can.
All right. So my pick, is Colin Farrell. And the reason I picked Colin Farrell, first off, look at that. That's a good.
I tried to go with at least longer, shaggy hair for everybody, something like that. So that's from Miami. That's from Miami Vice. That's the one that came up when I looked up Colin Farrell long hair was Miami Vice. So there you go.
And I just feel like he's a chameleon of an actor. By the way, like he can play anything. He can do stuff like the Penguin. He can do wacky, whatever the hell Bullseye was. He can do stuff like Banshees of Inisherin, Killing Secretary. Like he's such a versatile actor, first off. But then also, I feel like if you watch stuff like In Bruges, it could like kind of connect to Vincent Vega, where he's kind of that like down on his luck kind of hitman and all that stuff. And it feels like that same kind of personality as far as the roles go. So I feel like he has a familiarity there, but he also is just, I feel like he also looks the part and he's got the acting chops and the charisma, but he's also just overall just he can play like that shy guy really well. Cause that's one thing about Vincent Vega is kind of, he has his moments where he's like talking about this stuff, but overall, like when he's around Mia Wallace, he's kind of shy, more secluded, stuff like that. And Colin Farrell can do that stuff really well, as you saw like in Banshees of Inisherin and stuff like that. So I just think that he's one of the best actors working today, and it was my kind of main pick I had for Vincent. So
all right, so Wolf goes with, once again, Colin Farrell. Again, my pick may be a little tougher as far as how much you guys have seen of him, but I think if you're familiar with him, he matches that vibe of Vincent pretty perfectly as far as, again, that kind of laid-back, cool 70s vibe that even John Travolta, I think, is going for in the movie. Like, he's playing almost kind of a guy out of time in that movie. So I went with Peter Fonda, most notably from Easy Rider, who, again, kind of embodied counterculture in the 70s and kind of that new revolution in movies. He's got that cool quality to him. And yeah, he's played everything from, he's done Westerns. He did all these motorcycle picks and grindhouse movies in the late 60s. And then in the 70s, became more of a leading man and did more grittier roles. And he became a leading man in action movies as well. But I think he's kind of more of a chameleon. But I understand if you guys haven't seen a lot of him, again, he's kind of most notably known for Easy Rider. But again, that counterculture sort of out of time kind of guy, I think would really work if you made this movie in the 70s, finding a guy who kind of came up through the 60s and is still kind of hanging on to that vibe, as I think Vincent and Jules are kind of hanging on to sort of a yesteryear type of thing, as they look like kind of guys out of time. They don't look like guys in the 90s. They look like guys, from like another decade. And I think that could really work. So once again, my pick is Peter Fonda. All right. Jordan?
Well, I feel like my pick might be a little inspired because I think that he fits the role in almost any way. It's a guy that went toe to toe with John Travolta himself in Face Off. I'm gonna go with Nicolas Cage for my pick. And
that was the first thing that popped up. Nick Cage long hair. It's Con Air. So there you
Con
go.
Air, yeah. But you notice though that John Travolta in the movie has a little bit of an accent, like almost like a Southern kind of accent, or I don't know what it's supposed to be. It sounds Southern to me, but and so you look at things like Con Air, or like a Raising Arizona, like he's got that kind of Southern charm and charisma down. You even look at like things like Matchstick Man, or even like more recent, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Like I just see him kind of just like fitting in that role. You get a lot of shots with him in Cars, so you think Gone in 60 Seconds or stuff like that. And then I just think that like he can do it all. He can do action, he can do crazy characters, he can do comedy, he can do just like damn near almost anything. And so I think that like I could totally see him just like going around in that suit, and then like having to switch over to the weird T-shirts that then get halfway through the movie. So yeah, I'll go Nick Cage.
Nick Cage. All right, Richie, round us off.
Yeah, so I went with a guy I think could pull out again the charisma. He's got comedic chops. You've seen in things like This Is Where I Leave You and things like that. I'm with Adam Driver. I think Adam Driver would be quite well in the role. He sort of still like looks apart a little bit. I think I think he could play that sort of. He'd also play sort of shy sort of characters, and I think he has like I said, he has comedic chops. I know, but I think he could fit the aura of Vincent Vega really quite well. I just think like if I just think he would do real well. I don't know how much more to add, really. I just think like he's just got the comedic chops. He's got this like also this presence about him, so Adam Driver.
Okay, so Richie goes with Adam Driver. And just once again to go around the horn, Wolfman picked Colin Farrell. I went with Peter Fonda. Jordan went with Nick Cage, and Richie picked Adam Driver. So those are our four we'll be voting on here. So we'll start with Wolf. What are you gonna go with?
This is hard.
Just wait till the final round.
This is hard. But my my number 3 is Nicolas Cage. I could see it, but I would also I think it is. I think all these guys are good, by the way. So they're not any of them are bad picks, but I definitely can see him looking the part and such, but I just feel like he at some point might feel a little like too wacky. Like, I don't know. It all depends on the Nick Cage that he decides to play is the thing.
Maybe the one to talk about the Royale with cheese, I feel like.
Yeah. But it all really depends there. But then I'm going to go with Peter Fonda because I did watch Easy Rider before Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Because that was like one of the films that Tarantino said, do your homework,
like homework movies. That he wanted.
And stuff. So I watched that one, and he definitely has that kind of charisma and that kind of energy to him. And I just feel like that is definitely a good pick. My number 1 is actually one I initially was thinking about going with, but I picked Colin Farrell because I just feel like he overall fits more of a macho status to Colin Farrell than Adam Driver. Adam Driver doesn't really fit the macho man kind of status, but I still am going to have him as my number one pick here, just because I think that he looks the part, and because of the shy nature of the character, I feel like he would be able to really grasp that really well in the scenes with like Mia Wallace and such. So that's
all right. Yeah. So for me, my third one, I know he's really good and I love him, but I'm gonna go Nick Cage because I know he's gonna choose something wacky in the role. He's gonna choose something. He's gonna do something wacky with the role, and he's gonna be Nick Cage, and he's gonna go full Cage when that role does not require something like a full Cage. Like that role is very scaled back and very quiet. It's why John Travolta in the role is unlike anything you've seen John Travolta do in other movies. It's pulled back. My number two, I'll go Colin Farrell because, he is very good. He can be quiet when he needs to be and a badass when he needs to be. I like that pick. But goddamn, that Adam Driver pick, when Richie pulled that out, I was like, oh, shit, that's a good pick, man. Because, he can be very quiet and look behind his eyes like he's got a sinister side to him, but you don't know when it's going to come out. But he could do a lot of that casual conversation thing that escalates, when it needs to escalate. We've seen him do that in a bunch of movies. So, I really like the Driver pick. So I'm going with Adam Driver.
Jordan? For me, I just went with
Peter Fonda's number three. I know because you don't know who he is. That's fine. All right, moving on. Yeah, that's fine.
I've heard the name, but I don't know if I've even ever seen a single movie with Peter Fonda. This is some side character. So, I guess he's in Cannonball Run. That's one I've seen. Okay, and then Adam Driver. I just would kind of like to see him maybe do a little more kind of comedy and have a little more charisma. He is funny when he does it, like Logan Lucky and Girls to an extent, when he was in that. But
SNL,
but
he's really funny on the times he's been on SNL. He's really, really funny.
He is pretty good, doing the cover boss for Star Wars and all that stuff. Yeah, but,
and the crush your enemies into the dirt. The oiled guy. That shit is hilarious. He's funny.
But Colin Farrell, I can see him doing almost anything, and that's kind of for me, how in my opinion, I feel like Nick Cage is an inspired choice, but if I'm not going to pick him, then pick another actor that can do almost anything like that. And Colin Farrell, and even being from Ireland, he can get accents down to a T, to where for the longest time I didn't even know he was from Ireland. For the first few years I started watching his movies, I just see him just kind of just cool, calm, and collected, just in the car. But then when a crazy moment happens, he can bring the charisma and all that stuff. And I can also see him out there dancing on the dance floor and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll say Colin Farrell for my number one.
All right, Richie, round us out.
Yeah. So my number three, I like him a lot, and but I'm gonna have Nicolas Cage. I think for much of the reasons people said, I think he can't be a bet. I feel like the Vince character sort of requires sort of being a backseat rider necessarily. I feel like he's more suited if the Sam Jackson's character was white, he'd be more suited to that, the bombastic sort of, the sort of character where I think it'd just be him chewing scenery. Number two, Peter Fonda, just because I've seen some of his movies and I think he'd be a good pick. I'm just not as familiar. But number one, I'll go Colin Farrell. I think he's proven that he's a chameleon. He can do these sort of roles, and he can tap into that shyness of the character, that unassuming, and the unassuming shyness and the funniness of Vinny. So I'll go Colin Farrell.
All right, so we might have to throw it to the chat once again to pick between Colin Farrell and Adam Driver, are our two point winners, and this one both tied at 8. So anybody watching, will let the audience decide on this one. If for the role of Vincent Vega, if you would go with Colin Farrell or Adam Driver, are the two highest ones. On the first comment I see, as we move on, we'll take and break that tie. Do we have one? Colin Farrell. Okay, so there we go. We got
Yeah.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Again, he's a good pick. He's really good. But it was close, Richie. You almost had it, Richie. I threw it to you. A couple of us did. So yeah. All right. All right.
It was like I said. I almost went with Adam Driver, and then I was like,
it's a good pick. It's a good pick.
Yeah.
All right, but let's move on to the grand finale here. Of course, we are going to talk about Jules, played by Sam. He's sneering at us for even considering recasting him. You know, he's giving that look he had when he was beaten for the Oscar that year as well. So yeah, he's giving us that look. And there's really only one thing you can play for Jules. Maybe one of the most famous scenes in cinema history. So let's go.
17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Of course, you got to play the Ezekiel 25:17 speech. It's in our title. It's in everything. Of course, that's what it is. And yes, we are going to finish it off with maybe the most famous and well-known character of Jules, played brilliantly, of course, by Samuel L. Jackson. We are not trying to replace him in real life. This is all just fantasy casting. If you did, yes, he's amazing. But yeah, we're gonna finish things off with Jules, and I guess it's on me to kick us off. And again, sticking with my 70s theme. Look, when you're going with 70s, I think it's a pretty obvious thing that Sam Jackson played Shaft. So you got to switch him out. For Shaft. Richard Roundtree, goddammit. The original Shaft. I mean, come on. Look at that look with that 70s hair, with the gun, the mustache. I mean, you have to just go Shaft for Shaft here with Richard Roundtree. He has the charisma. Obviously, he carried that Shaft franchise. He's got charisma for days. He's got the look. He is straight up cool 70s. He's one of the first guys you think of as far as black cinema in the 70s, exploitation. I mean, Sam Jackson, is going for like almost a 70s perm, kind of look type of thing. So let's just go full throw, full Shaft, full Richard Roundtree. I mean, come on, dude. Shaft for Shaft, Richard Roundtree. Come on. That I just thought it's just too damn obvious. Shaft for Shaft. So there you go. My pick is obviously Richard Roundtree. So there you go. All right, Jordan.
So I'm going to go with one that especially recently has really brought it for me and made me think of it more of the Jules role, and I'm going to go with Lawrence Fishburne. So, and especially from the John Wick series, like just some of the lines, the way that he delivers those when he's the king, and you're not going to mess with the king. It's like you learn if you're going to cut a king, you better cut him quick, or like when he's like, "Long live the king," you're goddamn right. Like he just has all these quotes, and like he talks about being on the throne, and like no one's going to mess with them, and it's just all of that stuff just really just like embodies the type of charisma. I can see him going in delivering that Ezekiel line. I can see him blowing people away like that, and even like Morpheus to an extent, like he's very a badass. And yeah, I think that Lawrence Fishburne can really bring the action, but the intimidation and just kind of I can see him like walking around with that briefcase, and he's not going to let anyone look in there, slap their hands away, or fight for his case, so nobody gets a peek in that thing. So yeah, I got to go with Lawrence Fishburne.
So I don't know if you knew this or not, Jordan, but Lawrence Fishburne turned down the role of Jules. Tarantino approached him for the role after Boys.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
I did not.
So he's done interviews where he turned it down at the time, and then kind of regrets turning it down. So yeah.
But also the picture that you had is from where he plays the guy's dad in the.
It's Boys in the Hood. Yeah, I picked Boys in the Hood.
Yeah,
Thanks. So
yeah, Boys in the Hood.
I got
too.
kind of early
pretty
90s.
badass in that too.
I went early 90s Fishburne for you a little bit, kind of around the same time. So
yeah.
All right. And I picked something specific for Wolf, time period that he asked me to do as well. But we'll go to Richie first.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with someone who I think can also show that he can get to that sort of unhinged place, and he's got charisma. He can be funny, and I think I think he could play the role really well. I went with Anthony Mackie. I think he would. I think he'd fit really well, especially he can be intimidating. If you've seen this Netflix movie called Outside the Wire, he can be intimidating and synchronic. He can be sort of intimidating. He can but he can also be funny, very charismatic, and like Pain and Gain, and he can get to that sort of level of like screaming that sort of very that kind of bombastic sort of nature that Jules that Samuel Jackson goes for. So yeah, I think he would do well here. So I went with Anthony Mackie.
All right. So Richard goes with Anthony Mackie. I tried to get like more of a 70s look. Anthony Mackie, a little puffier hair and mustache for that. So, all right, Wolfman, what you got?
Yeah, so I decided to go with the more early, like late 90s, more early to mid 2000s, that era of the Training Day American Gangster era of Denzel Washington. That's what I went with. And the reason why is like in Training Day, you see that charisma on screen. That, all right, okay, you don't want to play, all that stuff, and the way he's like talking in that, the way that you see how threatening he is in American Gangster, stuff like that. But it also just like he also has that loud, bombastic kind of performance in that. But then also you could have in the scene where he is talking to Pumpkin and he's like holding the gun up to him. He's like, I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd. Like that is like a Denzel Washington, giving that subtle look of just something while I was having this like really heart to heart talk with Pumpkin. That's just, so I feel like that would work with it. Also, he's got this like, his smile, by the way, is like perfect Jules kind of smile. When you think about his smile and like the smile that Denzel Washington makes, like that comes across as like Jules for me. So I absolutely, and not to mention, he is arguably out of this entire list that we just mentioned, maybe the best actor out of this whole list. Like he is a two-time Oscar winner. He's a two-time Oscar winner. He's in my top 3 favorite actors of all time. Like he is an incredible actor. He can be subtle when he needs to be. He can be loud when he needs to be, and like showy when he needs to be, and he does it all expertly. So that's why Denzel Washington, the younger 2000s era American Gangster Training Day style Denzel Washington, would be my number 1 pick.
All right, so just going around the horn once again, we've got OG Shaft, Richard Roundtree, we've got Lawrence Fishburne, we've got Anthony Mackie, and we've got Denzel Washington. So this is going to be tough once again to kind of figure this out. This is going to be tricky. All right, I guess I have to kick us off. So I like him. There's something about him. He needs to be more of a seasoned pro, like hitman who's ready to go walk the earth, and he's kind of had enough of this lifestyle. And I don't think Anthony Mackie quite has that yet. He still feels young. He still feels like he'd be like rookie Jules instead of like veteran Jules. So I just got to go with Anthony Mackie on that one. My number 2, I'll go with Denzel, only because I think he's played characters similar to Jules. And I think it's almost too similar. Like to where it would almost get like I've seen him be crazy like in Training Day, and to me doing Jules like would be almost too similar. And for me, Lawrence Fishburne, like I could see why Tarantino wanted him at the time. He's got that, he could be almost a little more quiet when he needs to be. Like he's a little more quiet in the restaurant scene at the end, but can be bombastic when he needs to be. I mean, and even be crazed and almost psychotic. You look at something like Predators. You forget he's in Predators and he plays like a dude completely out of his mind.
That's right. Yeah, he's
good. But again, can have that commanding presence about him and command the attention of like an entire room, like with Morpheus or John Wick. So I'll go with Fishburne as my number one. Jordan.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on the Anthony Mackie one, just because he's like kind of playing like maybe he could play like a younger Jules Verne or something like that, or just like the rookie version. So I kind of like that like what you said, like kind of walk the earth, and like he's a presence everywhere that he goes, and he's someone to be feared, and like just delivering those lines. I mean, I think Anthony Mackie could deliver the lines in the way, but I just like don't quite see him there quite yet. And then for number two, I have seen the original Shaft movies. I think Richard Roundtree is like was an inspired pick until I heard Denzel, but so yeah, like so he'll be my number two. And then Denzel, like not only does he have like the acting chops, he just has that like look and that kind of evil kind of like smile and like the laugh from like Training Day, or from like even like things like even like where he's just walking, there's like Book of Eli, he's just roaming like all around and that, and then like even things like American Gangster or even He Got Game to an extent, because he's just like the badass like dad that's not gonna take any shit. He's been to jail and back, and so I can just I see that in all those roles, and I gotta go Denzel for number one.
All right, Richie.
Yeah, I like the Richard Roundtree pick, but I don't know beyond like look whether I don't know if he could pull off the character, and he might. But I just haven't seen like enough other stuff from Richard Roundtree to kind of make that conclusion. So number three, but I do like that pick. Number two, this is tough. Number two, I'm going to go with Denzel, because I think, again, like I said, he's been doing he's done stuff like Training Day, stuff like that. I just feel pretty.
Does that make him perfect for the part though? Like if he's already been Jules, like that makes.
But it becomes repetitive if he's only doing the unhinged like guy who's just going around like intimidating people. Like I feel like I've seen that multiple times.
There's more to. I just feel more to the character, and I mean, Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah, like I can see that. Yeah, he can go. Yeah, he can go unhinged when he needs to, but he can also be calm and also intimidating. He's got that presence. So, and I mean, I think again, you might have locked yourself in a good answer when you found out that he was initially the first choice, but for Tarantino. Yeah. But look, you had a good. You got a good pick. So. You're actually doing pretty well in this show, John. So go Lawrence Fishburne.
Right. I surprised myself. So
all right.
Well, interesting fact we learned this on the last Recast episode I was on, is that Peter Jackson's first choice, actually, we talked about Nicolas Cage earlier. His first choice for Aragorn was Nicolas Cage. So I'm going to throw that out there, apparently.
Oh wow, crazy!
It's been a totally different movie, but so my number three is, I'm also going to say Anthony Mackie. First off, that picture though of Anthony Mackie, he looked like a little like priest, like middle schooler with like trying to grow out a hair. I don't know. Like, look at that. He's like a middle school. I don't know what's wrong with his hair. Like he's just like. First off, like, but
it looks like he's about to walk into like a ~70s courtroom or something.
Yeah, it's just like like that photo. That was just like a bad photo of him, but not like a bad pick necessarily. I just need to see more stuff from him, and I just feel like I don't know if he's got enough of the like the demeanor of like threatening demeanor to him. But then my number two is Richard Roundtree, because of what I've seen of Richard Roundtree. He's perfectly, he's got the look. He's definitely got the like charisma and everything. but I don't know if he has that like trying real hard to be the shepherd, dramatic kind of quieter kind of moments like that. So that's the only reason he's not number one. Everything else about him is number one. Other than that, and then Lawrence Fishburne, I'm gonna pick as number one for this, just because he is, that quiet. He can be that quiet natured kind of guy. He can be loud and Butch like, "Are you pissed off? I'm pissed off," like in John Wick and all that stuff. And he can do all that kind of stuff, but also be somber when he needs to be. And knowing that he was Tarantino's first choice, and it looks like he will probably end up taking it. That's kind of funny, just because it's like a meta humor there. So,
yeah. Wonder why he turned it down, or like.
I saw clips where he's talked about it in interviews. I didn't go into it, but I don't know if it was a conflict issue or if he just didn't fully know Tarantino as much, because he was only coming. Keep in mind, Tarantino was only coming off of Reservoir Dogs, which is like it was critically acclaimed, and people didn't know him as well now. Obviously, after Pulp Fiction, then it became like a hot ticket, to be in a Tarantino movie. But at the time, I think he just didn't know as much about him. So,
hey, it's better. It's better than Will Smith turning down Django Unchained because he didn't feel he was the main character of that movie, even though
in the title of the movie, which is so stupid. You're the title character of Django. But all right. But just running down again, I figured my 70s thing. I just like to go with the theme, and I chose Tarantino proud. I know I only got one. It is what it is. I just wanted to make you proud. Just running down everything that won up to a point. So for Pumpkin, Aaron Paul ended up taking that one. For the role of Honey Bunny, we went with Margaret Qualley. Got the most votes for that one. For the Wolf, my one shoe-in that I was hoping we'd at least get that, Charles Bronson as the Wolf. There you go. Marsellus Wallace was close, but Jordan, you got Michael Clark Duncan for that one, so a good pick there. Going up to Butch, the choice, it was tied between Steve McQueen and John Bernthal, but the audience put it over with Bernthal there. So I almost had one there. I almost had one with Steve McQueen. Mia, out of that one, Anya Taylor-Joy took the voting for that one. And again, Vincent was another very close one between Adam Driver and Colin Farrell, but Colin Farrell ended up taking the votes on that one. And for Jules, again, some really good picks, mostly between Denzel and Lawrence Fishburne, but Lawrence Fishburne takes the role of Jules for that one. So there we go. That'll do it. But excellent work, everybody. Always fun to kind of see, what we would have chosen, for different eras, for different looks, for whatever good stuff there. And just fun to talk about, because we all love Pulp Fiction. Yeah. Come on, the movie's great. And just to imagine some other people in the movie is always fun. So that's gonna do it.
Well, it's like another dimension casting, because I think out of all the recasts that we've done, Pulp Fiction's got to be the most perfect casting. I mean, it's just
it's pretty damn perfect. Yeah, you almost couldn't imagine anybody else in the role. But we can announce what our next recast will be. Again, this one we don't do as often as some of the other shows. This is one we just kind of do, about every month and a half, something like that. Just kind of, when we got those weeks where we could use an extra show and whatnot. But we will be doing another 90s beloved favorite, another movie that pops up on tournament fights damn near all the time, just like Pulp Fiction pops up on almost everybody's top 64 or 128. Another one that pops up on almost everybody's. We're going to attempt to recast Jurassic Park. Let's take that to heart, and that could be really fun and interesting. That one's going to be a little more expanded, maybe about 10 or 11 roles, because there's a lot of primary kind of important characters in that movie. So one's going to be just a tad longer and a little more daunting, but still, I think really fun, because there's a lot of, again, kind of niche little character actors in there, some leading people, and it'll be fun to see where everybody kind of goes with their casting of Jurassic Park. So we're going to do that. It's got a nice big ensemble of juicy characters we can dig into. to. So that's what to do.
To find some people that have Jurassic Park in their top 5 of all time, because I do.
It's in my top 10, so it's right there. Obviously, I'm the host. Obviously, I'm the host, so I have to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jordan will be there. And we'll find some other people. Yeah, some other big mega Jurassic Park fans. So, and we'll make it happen. So that'll be our next episode, and then we might dive into some Marvel after that and recast the original Avengers from 2012. And
I'll be in for that.
And maybe do some alternate comic book casting. I might go for like an 80s or 90s vibe with that one and go take it way back in the Wayback Machine. If we done that, back then or something like that. So that could be
pretty inspired picks. I've seen some memes floating around with some picks from the 90s and 80s and stuff.
Just saying, like if Deadpool the character would have existed around that time, Bruce Campbell would have actually been a really good casting for Deadpool. That's one I could have seen.
Definitely has the charisma for sure.
But so those might be our next kind of 2 in the chamber, Jurassic Park, and then we'll get into some comic book stuff with maybe the Avengers, and we'll recast the Avengers, however you would recast that. So again, it's perfectly cast as like a Tony Stark is with Robert Downey Jr. Maybe we'll attempt to get somebody else that could really work, something like that. So that'll be a lot of fun. So we'll go around the horn. We'll just get some quick plugs from everybody, not too long, because we've had a pretty decently length episode here. But Wolfman, what you got coming up? Where can we find it?
So you can find me on my YouTube channel, Mega Movies, where I will be doing a lot of reviews, a lot of commentaries for you guys, stuff like that. As far as the most recent review coming up, we've got an Alien Romulus review for you guys coming up soon, so you guys can stay tuned for that. We've got, of course, the drinking game this month that Austin and I decided on doing in honor of Alien Romulus is Alien Resurrection. So, so that'll be fun. We will.
It's kind of the silliest, the most over the top of all the Alien movies, so it'll be fun to drink along with. Yeah, there's a lot of good criteria there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that one will be a blast. So we're going to be doing that one this month, and then there's a few other kinds of like reviews and anniversary kind of watches that we plan on doing for you guys soon. So be on the lookout for all of that and much more. And thank you guys for inviting me. I know I'm a huge Tarantino fan, and he's known for his ensemble pieces. Eventually down the road, he's like the type of filmmaker you could do like a Reservoir Dogs. You could do
we've talked about you could literally recast almost any one of those movies. We could do Reservoir Dogs and cast all the main, the crew of Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, you could recast Django Unchained. You could recast Jackie Brown. Any of this stuff. I think you could Kill Bill. Even you could recast like all the primary Kill Bill people. I think you could dig into that. So no, this won't be the only time we see Tarantino on recast. I could almost assuredly find that. So.
And also, don't forget, Wolf, we got your top 128 coming up next week. So
my top 128, and I'll also be on the TV tournament on Friday as well, too, or the TV tier ranker. So so that'll be one, and my top 128 is coming up. And I unfortunately won't be making history like I did the last tournament fight, but that's fine.
No, because I got to host the streams for those, and we are not having 4-hour shows. I will tell you that right now.
No, it wasn't 4; it was 5 hours. So
I'm gonna run the countdown clock on the screen for that one. So
Brian Nussbaum timed it. I had like a 5 hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, we're not doing that next week. I have to get sleep at some point, so we're not doing that. All right, I keep you and Dan in check. Richie, what you got going on?
You can find me here, Tournament Fights. I'm sure Jordan will tell you when the next one I'm on soon, though, I think. And Wheel of Movies, we're doing more Rats in honor of Shannon Doherty, who recently passed away. Lonely Marks after that. Talk about SummerSlam. Spoiler alert, really good show.
I thought it was damn entertaining. Go watch SummerSlam if you didn't see it.
That show is great.
That show was great, and a lot of great story stuff. If you haven't caught up on WWE in a while, that'd be a great show to get caught up and jump back in, because there's a lot of great story stuff going on right now, for sure.
So talk about the news. Are we doing the? Are we Are we doing the ranking this week, or is it next week?
No. That'll be next week because we got kind of a slower week, a dead week in between. So we'll do the ranking next week. Yeah, no, just SummerSlam and news this week. That's enough. We're gonna break down SummerSlam pretty thoroughly. So
and you'll probably see me on JPO's channel doing trivia and stuff like that too. So and I'm doing a demo battleground thing versus Nick Hernandez that I should be taping that tomorrow. Not sure when I'll go up, but yeah.
I'm doing one of those too. I'll promote it once it's actually up. I don't know when it's going to go up. I'm doing one of those.
Yeah. So just keep an eye out for that. And I'm gonna jet, guys. But I'll talk to you guys later.
No, thanks, Richie. Have a good night.
Next week for Wolfman's Part 1 and Part 2 on Monday and Wednesday. Just so you know.
No worries, man. All right, cool.
Don't worry, I'll keep it in check. We won't go all night.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna put a countdown on screen for when you and Dan are talking. But Jordan, just a couple of quick plugs. Not a month out like you usually do. Just to go.
Yeah, right.
And just let them know what we got coming up in the immediate future.
Yeah, I'll just say that I've been trying to do more of a push to do some trivia. We just had a seen and heard trivia match on the channel last Friday, so you can go watch that, and then hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks we'll have another one coming up. So I'm already like halfway done putting that together just to get a jump on it. But and then we have more trivia after that. We'll be doing an exhibition match to kind of maybe almost end the summer. It won't be quite the end, but it'll be a best summer time movies, maybe around the beginning of September, something like that. And then we'll get into some seen and heard music trivia after that. So we're kind of trying to balance all that. But I've been having a lot of fun doing trivia, so I'm kind of just putting the pedal on trivia lately. So and then just if you want to watch the seen and heard music trivia where you can watch it, you go to our Patreon channel, patreon.com/movie here. You can watch the first episode for free. So it's up there for free. You don't even have you have to be a member, but there's a free tier. But then going forward, the music trivia will be up there for $1 for the first couple of days, and then $5 after that. And then also the best place you can follow us is if you go to Facebook and you go to the Movie Hero Network group. That's probably the best way. And if you have anything that you'd like to post, that if you have a YouTube channel, or if you have any projects you're working on, you can post over there. Your heart's content. You can talk movies with us. You can do all that fun stuff over there. And then also, if you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, definitely do that also, because that really helps us out. And actually, speaking of that, we did hit. So I've been a little bad about announcing it, but we have crossed the 300 subscribers mark. So I think we're officially at like 302 subscribers. So we are going to be doing a giveaway, and I'm going to be announcing the winner tomorrow night. And all you have to do is just be a subscriber, and there'll be a box set coming your way. But what I decided is we're going to find out what you're interested in, and we're going to tailor it to you. I mean, nothing too crazy, but I mean, something at least worth a little bit, just more than just a normal like DVD or a Blu-ray or something like that, So yeah. And then just real quick, I'll just go over the next week or two and what we have coming up. So this Friday we got that TV tier ranker that Wolfman mentioned. That's going to be best movies from 2015 to 2017. So we've had to kind of break that down in our quest to determine the best TV shows of all time, because there's so many TV shows that have been released. So all this week I'll be watching pretty much all TV shows to catch up for that. And then we have Wolfman's 128 coming up the following week, and then after that we'll be getting into our best movies of 2001 ladder series. And I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I got a thunderstorm going on here. There's thunder like loud outside my window. But anyways, but that's pretty much what we have going on. But
yeah.
And Austin, what do you?
No, for sure. I mean, obviously, everything here on the Movie Hero Network, as Richie mentioned, Wheel of Movies this week. I'll be co-hosting with Richie, with Jordan as our guest, because Mallrats is his favorite Kevin Smith movie, so he'll be joining us for that. So we'll be talking about Mallrats for Shannon Doherty. Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast is on its own channel, but we link it in the Movie Hero Network group, so you can check that out. And then got some Full Metal Trivia with JPO coming up, me versus him over in Malcolm's League. And I mean, not too much much else. Jordan, you and I, we got invited to be on the Extra Movie Butter podcast. That's Moose and JTE's and Brother Lomas's podcast, talking about Alien Romulus after it comes out. So we'll be doing that the week after it comes out, and that'll be up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. So we'll definitely promote that a little more once it's up, but we'll be talking about that on and taping that the week after Alien Romulus comes out. So look forward to that.
And also, I want to fill in any Alien blind spots that I have before that also, which I think the only one I haven't seen is just Alien Resurrection, but I've seen pretty much every other Alien.
Well, you can watch it and then watch me and Wolf drink to it. So there you go. Yeah, you can watch it along with us and watch us drink to it. That's right.
Yeah.
Should be a lot of fun. But that'll really do it for us. Got some stuff coming on. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as Jordan said, to the Movie Hero Network. Join that Facebook group so you can see all of our going on. Wolf posts all of his stuff over there. Where Ryan Permas and all kinds of people post their stuff over the Movie Hero Network group. So join our community, watch everybody's stuff. We're all working hard to give you that great entertainment. So that'll do it for us tonight until our next episode of Recast, which again will be Jurassic Park. So you can look forward to that. Maybe about a month and a half or so, we'll crank out another recast for that. But this has been Pulp Fiction. So thanks to everybody on. Thanks you to our very own Wolf here on the Movie Hero Network, the Wolfman, Michael Wolfman Wyndham. Thanks to Richie, who had to leave early. But thank you, Richie. Thanks to Jordan, my other partner here on the channel. And I have been your host for tonight, Austin Pez Howell. We will see you guys next time.